Welcome back to Saga of Three Kings, session number 51, entitled Homeward Bound. Last session, the group, some things, and then eventually decided to teleport for whatever they were doing across the area again, across the Moodus Kingdom to the western side, across the Ice Fangs and the hills therein, arriving back in Bluegate. Upon arrival, um, Benson says, "Okay, well, if you guys have some things to do in the city, that's fine. I'm just gonna kind of looking around like a kid in a candy store. Spend some time with the books, and you know where to find me." Rushing away as he heads into the restricted section of the um, uh, Arcana area, leaving you pretty close to the front entrance therein.
Okay. So before we get into that, Benson had sent a message using sending to Oru as another message. I'm not sure if there's a
Yeah.
response.
The response would have been pretty much tepid and thanks kind of situation, similar to
Okay.
the last time you sent a message with
Right,
an
but
update.
nothing, a sense of what that important thing might have been. No.
No. But yeah, you are at the Hall of Arcana on the north side of the city of Bluegate, on the western side of the Kingdom of Munio. What would you like to do?
So Grok would turn to Raya and say, "This is where we last saw Caloris. Should we see if there's been any sign of him in the town since then?"
This isn't where we lost our Caloris.
Wasn't it? Wasn't he in this town?
The last time we, in the dwarf, the dwarf town, city we saw him in, and after we killed Smoothbrain was the actual last time we saw him.
Okay.
No, this town's been pretty secure so far. It doesn't seem to be too terribly corrupt.
To help with that point, just to make sure you do remember correctly, there were sightings of Calorith and Calorith's forces southwest of here. We'll go ahead and bring up the big map so you can see what I'm talking about.
One of his envoys escorted by 2 knights had passed through here.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
Gain inspiration for that, by the way. Good note taking.
What's a note?
Well, just good brain taking. But yeah, the map marker was identified as being the Calorith stronghold here because that's where those folks were kind of seen about. But yeah.
Well, I wanted to visit was it the Men of Faith were kind of the peacekeepers? Or was it just the actual guardsmen that were offering the bounty?
So the Men of Faith were...
bounty collection is with the town guard and the...
Yes, bounty collection would have been acquired at Bluegate Fortress. The militia is primarily stationed there.
Well, I had some of those to turn in, and I wanted to see about collecting that envoy body we stashed north of the city.
Okay.
A while back.
Okay. It would have been not too far outside of the city. Are you going by yourself?
If I have the means to do so.
Does anybody else have any minor errands that they want to run in town? Because we're going to have to come back and get Benson eventually anyway. So we can complete all those and then split the party if we need to. Go get the body, come back, and then go meet the parents.
I don't really have anything to do in town.
I didn't particularly have anything to do right now. I know we're going to have to come back, so.
Yep, same.
As you're kind of standing there in the central foyer, not too far from where the teleportation circle is, a scribe kind of looks at you all confused, and says, are you reinforcements?
Usually. What's the issue? What's the deal, bud?
Oh, I don't know too much about the ins and outs of it, but most of the militia of Bluegate has left south. And, Well, we were told that we would be getting reinforcement guards, but none have yet arrived. So the men of faith currently operate. But, well, I do dearly miss the old guard.
From where were the reinforcements coming?
I do not know. I am sorry. Never mind. Forget it. No matter.
What are they reinforcing against?
The old man's already walked away.
Don't want our help.
Sounds like we should talk to the men of faith.
So
Yeah. Where Calareth's forces were last seen, right?
If you step out onto the open street, you'll note, if you leave the Hall of Arcana, you'll note that the temperature, and when I say temperature, I mean the movement about the town, is not as grandiose as it was the first time you were here. If you recall, you arrived originally on the day of Dan, and a lot of people were moving about the city south to get to the church. There was a lot of activity, a lot of fanfare, a lot of people happy, bright clothing, wonderful, just atmosphere. But there's not a single person out on the street except for a couple of what look to be bandits kind of standing on the street corners. They do not have scarves on. I knew that was going to be a question, so I just made sure to put that in my note here. They do instead happen to be wearing the only noticeable thing that everyone seems to be wearing is a rosary of the Atavian cross.
do you think they might know why the guards went over there?
I think they're the replacement guards, bud. Those are your men of faith, aren't they, Raya? You met with those guys before, right?
I don't actually think that I did.
No one had dealings with the men of faith.
No, I think they were only mentioned.
Ah, my bad.
They are king haters and coup starters, so definitely something to keep an eye on.
Huh.
So, just standing outside of the Hall of Arcana, to the north, there's the locked gate that leads to the secret path that leads to the old destroyed Crimson Scarf's camp and possible displacer beast attacks. Just across the street, there's the cutting edge. There is a nice fountain and statue in front of you, if you recall. And the path south to Moortown, or the path west to more Northgate and Bar.
Andy, did you have any other errands in town to deal with?
Nope.
Okay. I believe was it the southern gate we had to, or Bluegate Fortress is where we needed to go to dump the scarves, right?
Correct. That's where it was you that talked to them. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we could do that on the way out of the city.
Well, let's go ahead and take the tour of the
Might as
city
well meet with them.
and take in the goings on as we go through. I'll stop in at the cutting edge for a minute and talk to the boy that runs the counter.
You're able to make it to the cutting edge unmolested. Enter inside. There is no young boy at the counter. Instead, there is an elderly woman. Looks like she might be of the age that could suffice as either that child's mother or grandmother. You're not sure. She's just kind of... She seems to have aged fairly well, but at the same time, there's noticeable wisdom and age to her. She sees you enter and says, "Travelers were let in. Interesting. How can I help you?"
Greetings. I stopped in here some time ago. I met with the boy running the counter. I believe his father's the owner of the shop.
Yes, they've both been sent off to the front.
I heard something about that from an elderly man across the street. What is the front? What are you fighting?
Apparently a horde of creatures came down from the hills. Undead, demons, other like creatures. So the curious raised the banners, and all of the folk of the town who were of fighting age were sent off to the front to help him in his conflict against the one known as Calareth.
is a foe of ours as well.
He is also known by a couple of other names here. The Servant of the Serpent and the Fallen Hierophant. But...
Hierophant's his government name, right?
Correct.
So word has spread.
Apparently it is out that he is, yes. I don't know how you got into the town or what your business here is, but not many.
Teleportation. We've made friends with the Curios in our past travel.
You're from the Hall of Arcana. That makes the most sense. Well, apologies, I can't help you more in finding my son or his son.
No worry, the information you've given is suffice. I was mostly curious about what's been happening here.
Of course, most of the conflict, from what I understand, has been happening there on the northern bank of the Cloudy Lake. But we have
Other
remained
forces were sent south to fight.
southwest, really. I don't know who you spoke to, but alarmist.
The ramblings of an old man, he was of no help.
We are still getting supplies in from Bansor.
Good to hear.
It was only about a 6-day, or maybe just over a 6-day, that they all headed off to the front in the first place.
Oh, good, then they wouldn't be too far ahead of us. We're actually headed to Bansor ourselves.
Oh, no, they wouldn't have gone towards Bansor. They would have gone south.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. I would suggest doing everything you need to do within the town before you make your way out. From what I understand, the men of faith who are running the gates at this point are not allowing anyone in. Hence my hesitation as to how it seemed you had entered the place. Unless you are in some way imbued with the ability to fly or teleport. I suppose.
Actually.
Well, that's great. You should be fine then. No problem.
How is it that the men of faith came to control the walls?
Well, after the Kyrios left, I want to say it was about 9 days ago now that I think about it. Maybe 6. It was a while ago. Anyways, the point is, the leader of the Men of Faith argued with the master of the militia remaining, the reinforcements, and effectively called him a coward for not heading off into the front. Although the same claim could be put to the Men of Faith, who have not been moved to fight, using old law to keep them about and hiding behind the necessity of their leader, foolish and unwelcome priest in this town. That said, the militia left and headed on after their lord, and have left us defenseless. So the Men of Faith have taken control of the town effectively. Some are fearful as to what might happen when the Kyrios returns, battered and beaten.
Why would the Curious go himself?
He's a brave man, if you've ever met him. He is stern.
He is stern, and he did seem brave, but to leave your town undefended is...
It would be better, I suppose, in his mind, to leave his town undefended for a short time with those he thought to be trusted, and defeat a great evil and return victorious, safety for all and peace for a generation. Unfortunately, I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion that the fight won't be as heroic as they wanted it to be.
We will do our best to get there and lend whatever help we can and try to get your Curio back here and keep the faith back under control.
Powerful mages with the ability to fly and magically spirit themselves away, you might be a great help. Not many of the Hall of Arcana decided to join alongside the Kyrios either.
You're inside the Hall of Arcana.
You were inside the Hall of Arcana. Yeah, it looked like there was still... Like, when you first entered in, literally nothing seems to have changed in there. Like, if you've been through there before, it looks like it's still full staff.
No magic users went to help the fight.
I think a couple, but I think, yes, old Blackbeard went. Other than that, I can't think of any specific names. Probably a couple of acolytes, but the only notable individual would have been whatever I just said a second ago. Blackbeard? Was that what I said?
Blackbeard, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
How do you forget Blackbeard?
For some reason, I thought I said Black Blade. Because I've been thinking about 40k a lot. Anyways.
The Hall of Arcana have allied itself with the Men of Faith?
No. They've stayed inside of their hall and...
Doing magician stuff. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
I know the type.
Yes. There really isn't much for you here in the town. Most of the provisions of celebratory drink have been confiscated by the Men of Faith. So pubs and taverns aren't exactly a great place to go. Church has been moved. It's not great.
I understand. Do you have any armaments remaining, or have you sent everything to the front?
Pretty much everything I have sent, everything we have collected has been sent forth in regards to weaponry. Armors and the likes are still available.
Do you need anything that I know of?
No.
How do you guys?
Everybody's good.
No, we're good. I'm good.
Do you have any spare darts laying about, perhaps?
If you give me an hour, I can fashion you 5 or 6.
I'm gonna drop 5 gold on the table and just make as many as you can. A walking robot will come around to collect them at some point.
Fair enough. You mean one of the dwarvish construct things?
Yeah, I don't know what it's gonna look like when it gets here, so just
Fair enough.
whichever one. It's the only one that talks by itself, I think.
Well, if you would be so kind, she kind of gives you a quick look towards your belt. If you can just lock up as you leave. And you notice she kind of looks at your belt pouch where your thieves' tools are. You step outside, you do a very quick lock and shut and lock their door. And she kind of leaves and goes out into the back to handle some business regarding making darts. Yeah, you exit the cutting edge. A couple of Men of Faith have kind of moved closer to where you're located and are kind of looking over at you, arms crossed, trying to look intimidating. But they don't seem to push forward or, try to do anything stupid.
Would we think they're intimidating?
No, it does seem that they have sized you up and kind of have taken to effect that you are who they think you are. Again, you have a reputation.
Drop my hood and kind of make eye contact and just
Nobody recognizes
head
me.
back to the
I
path.
mean, it's a giant robot and a 500-pound turtle. I mean, yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
us.
Yep. An elvish saint, very finely dressed as well, and a half-orc paladin. Yeah, your group is not hard to suss out.
And a matching halfway. I know he's not outside.
He stayed in the library.
The only thought that they're having is that can't
Where's
be
the little
hand,
one?
That can't be the hand of Mudis's men, because the hand of Mudis isn't with them, or they're acting on his behalf since they came out of the Hall of Arcana and he's within.
See, this is why I could never do stealth missions. You all stick out like a sore thumb.
That's just sorry.
Hey, look, I can't tell.
It's like Star Trek 4 Voyage Home. He's like, just spread out. You're sending around like a bunch of tourists.
Rogue is the issue here.
Yeah. So where would you like to go from there? But it does.
You all got famous.
It does look like they are looking you over. Riot, knowing a bit about how thieves guilds operate, they are basically marking you. They are having people keeping an eye on you and moving with you, and in some regards, kind of passing the baton to other people down the way. And you can see the camp being transferred as they're following you. It doesn't seem like they're doing anything ill toward or trying to do anything. It's more of this is a possible thing that could be a problem, and we need to keep an eye on.
Yep. So let's just head down to Bluegate Fortress.
All right. You'll note that the Bluegate Fortress seems to be closed. The gates are shut. There does not appear to be anybody up on the high parapets or even the small gate guard house nearby. It seems to be completely shut up.
Kind of figured with all the guards leaving.
Well, I don't think you're getting paid today.
Well, this is a crock. Who's in charge?
No one close to you, but as you kind of yell out, you do kind of like see someone kind of looking out a window up on the second floor of the Hall of Commons, not too far from where you're at, kind of looking in your direction. Appears to be a woman wearing kind of studious-looking clothes and very large spectacles, kind of staring out at you. When you kind of look over in her direction and do kind of make gestures, she immediately dips back into the room proper, as if, contact with you is not a desired result of that staring.
Possibly her, but probably these guys, and point to whatever door behind us.
The six totems of heads poking around corners.
The metaphaser just like 360 degrees.
Just Scooby-Dooing around every house.
Perfect. But yeah, the eastern gate's not too far from where you're at. It does look like the doors are closed there as well, but there does look like there is a core of individuals kind of placed at the eastern gate. And they look like they're kind of set there in a defensible position. If you were desiring to go to Banser, the southern gate would be the one you'd want to take. If you were wanting to go to the Howling Hills, the eastern gate would be the one that you'd want to take. If
You wanted the body, right?
If you're going for the body, you want the northern gate.
But the problem is, if we go out, they're probably not going to let us come back in the northern gate.
Oh, don't worry, they can't keep us out.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about, societal recompense after the fact. But yeah, we'll get back in the city. Don't worry. I'm gonna head up towards the Drunken Mage.
Okay.
I'm running a little shy of space in the bag of holding of bodies chassis.
Okay.
I might try to hire a cart or something.
Okay. The Drunken Mage is a bar.
Yeah, I'm just looking for people
Okay.
to talk to, see what kind of information I can get.
When you go inside, it's completely empty. Like, there's no one there, but the door's unlocked. And it's not left open like a normal bar would be open during business hours. So you kind of open the door, and inside there's a completely empty bar room.
Absolutely nobody.
Not even a bar to keep. There's no one there. There's nothing on the the shelves. Everything's been taken. I don't remember if you've been here before.
We did not come to this one.
Okay.
We only ever went to the Keen Shrub.
It does look like there was probably space, and there does look like there are kind of like cases, wooden boxes that have been kind of left open, where very, very fine-looking liquors and liqueurs would have been and have been taken.
And they really need a lot of alcohol.
Does it look like it was ransacked, or somebody just got out of the city, had to pack and leave?
No, it looks like someone just took them. Like, yeah.
I see.
Able to sure.
Nobody's tending the bar, so it was just a free for all.
I would have passed on all the information I had. The Men of Faith have confiscated all the liquor in town.
Oh.
According to that old woman.
Boring.
Do you kind of look around inside?
Yeah, I'll nose around a little bit. I don't want to.
Okay. As you're kind of tumbling around, you kind of hear a creaking sound, and when you kind of come around the door there, you see kind of wizened, kind of middle-aged man with a dagger and a book in a hand kind of look at you and go, "Huh, there's nothing worth taking here, whatever you are."
I'm Shambles.
Oh.
Looking for a little hospitality. Seems this city's running low.
You're a traveler? He says as he kind of puts his dagger back into the sheath at his pocket, and then kind of like sets the book down on a table.
More or less. And you are?
He does the what some might consider a sin of dog-earing, the kind of folding the tip of the page that he's on and setting that on the table. Yeah.
I'm not Benson. I'm not going to reprimand him.
Fair enough. Good thing you didn't have Benson here. How could you?
What are you doing here?
I live here. I work here. It's my establishment.
Probably lock it up every once in a while.
I mean, we're technically open. Doesn't look like.
What are you selling?
I mean, I can make you some food if you're interested, but I suppose you're not. She's kind of looking at you.
I know some people that eat.
He kind of.
What's going on around here? Where are the? There's still got to be working class folks in the city itself. I understand.
Sure. Curios is on a fucking honor bend and is trying to gain glory by fighting some crazy cultist. And the Thieves Guild of the town have absconded with everybody's shit and are basically keeping everyone boarded up in their houses, taking everything that's worth anything. They've already looted me for pretty much all I'm worth. Yeah. Make an insight check.
8.
Yeah, he seems on the level.
Yeah, I trust him. I liked him since he pulled a knife on me. Yeah, that sucks. Is this all gonna, sweep under the rug neatly when, Curios comes home, or you think Curios is coming home?
I genuinely don't know. If I had the finances to get out of the city and head somewhere safe, I might head up to Purple Light, or down to Banser. I hear they're nice. But I'm sure a lot of folks in the city aren't willing to uproot as easily as I am.
Purple Light's a decent town. I hear good things about Banser. Never been myself, as far as I know. Yeah, that's rough, buddy.
Answer's the 10 out of 10.
Who the fuck was that? He said. Are those your eating friends you were talking about?
Yeah, I don't know if you feel like firing up the kitchen or anything, but
if they're hungry and they're paying, yeah, I guess it's fine.
you could come in now.
He walks around to the front. He actually comes back out. He leads you out of his office and out to the front and kind of looks at everyone. So you here for food?
Might as well.
Eat them up. I'll toss him 5 gold.
Very generous, thank you. He walks around to the back. You do hear fire going. He kind of looks out to you and says, "Yeah, sorry, all I got is salted pork. I can cook it up pretty nice, and I think I have some old bread. Yeah." And after about 30 minutes, he comes out with 1, 2, 3 trays. They're kind of like just claystone kind of long bowls. He's taken the dried bread and kind of set it in, cut the loaves in half, and kind of dished them out to 3 specific individuals. Kind of dug out the middle of it and poured in the gravy and the pork into kind of like a trencher, and offered those to you.
I tell him that none for me. I give it up food too.
Yeah,
Nom nom nom.
he's like,
So that's the third one, the other one.
he kind of takes it and slides it over and says, "That means I don't have to make my lunch out of the other half of this bread. That's fine." And he just starts eating his own food at the bar. He then kind of disappears for a second, comes back out, sets a book on the table, and begins reading. If you're there or not, he doesn't care. He just seems to be kind of...
What book is he reading?
The book he happens to be reading is a book entitled The Heroes of the Nenter Vale.
I think I might have heard of that.
Yeah, it's pretty common. Tells of some Shannara heroes who basically rose to fight the tyranny of magic and mages in the grand city of Old Heisrick. And their horrible, horrible defeat by the conglomerate. Any other questions for the barkeep?
You, anybody that you know, is Hall of Records being manned at this point?
I suppose. Not too many of the old studious types were taken.
That's where we came from when we teleported, right?
No, Hall of Arcana. Grand Hall of Records is south of here.
Did you manage to not get recruited?
Oh, yeah, easy enough. I used to be an adventurer, but then I took an arrow to the knee. Not very capable in combat.
So he got married.
Moving. So I got married and bought a place here. I'm actually from a bit west of here.
No, yeah, where about?
Old town called Barrod.
Bro, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't leave much behind, so I have already heard the news regarding what happened there.
That dragon died.
Oh,
Yeah, he got payback.
I didn't hear about that. A dragon died, you said.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And the Modus and his traveling companions.
Interesting. Oh. Yeah, that does make sense. He says as he looks over at Grok.
He's got the cloak. He pulls out a little bit of the cloak out of the pack and holds it up and then puts it back.
He says, if we were in normal times, I'd be a bit more generous with what I had available. And he gestures, you can have anything on my shelves.
Absolutely no worry.
We're
We're here to help you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, the coin you've fished me should help quite a bit. And he sits with you as you eat. If you have no other questions for him, after you're done, there isn't too much. Go ahead. Sorry, Zach. It looked like you're going to say something.
Is there anybody in or around the town that might be able to assist me with moving some inventory? I've got roughly 200-pound parcel I need to recover just north of the city.
Not too many folks are able to get outside of the city and head out that way. How much is it worth to you?
It's pretty important. I don't have a lot of cash on hand. I do have these scarves, which, the old guard were paying pretty handsomely for.
Sorry, it's probably not going to fly too well here anymore.
Yeah, guess it's not a paying job. I can handle it myself, I'm sure.
Well, I was going to say, I've got an old friend who lives not too far outside of town, just a small house outside of the locked gate on the north side of town. I have a way of contacting him. He could probably get it out this way. And the locked gate isn't currently being watched by the Men of Faith. If you're able to lift it up over the wall and get up on top of the wall yourself, shouldn't be a problem.
We can make that happen.
Yeah, you give me 10 more gold and 5 for Kinner, and we'll call it square.
10 gold I can cover.
15 total. Okay.
Oh, okay.
He kind of grins as you settle the coin. Well, we'll be closing up, gentlemen, if you don't mind. He
Lock that door every once in a while.
again, when we're open, we're open. So
All right.
The door's open. He says as he shuffles you all out, shuts the door, locks it behind him, and kind of heads off in his own direction. You can follow him if you'd like, but it seems like he's going to the business of getting Kinnard messaged.
When you're open, you're open. You pull a knife when the first guy walks inside. It's fine.
Most people don't come around the bar. They try to make a commotion in the bar. Like,
knock on the
hey, is
door
there
or
anyone
something?
here?
You don't want us
Hey,
to make a commotion in your bar.
hey, can I get some service?
I see. I just
Ring the
see
bell.
how people act in the city.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever.
It's whatever.
Sneak up on a guy reading.
That's what you get for reading.
Fair enough. He leaves.
Telling Benson on him.
He will be gone for some time, but he says before he leaves, meet me at the lock gate in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I can head that way. I got nothing else I really need to do here. Red scarves are starting to seem pretty worthless.
We'll hang on to them. And since we have 30 minutes to go, let's take a roundabout way to that gate. I'd like to inspect the walls as we go.
Heading north towards the northern gate, and then kind of moving around the back ends and the alleyways behind the cutting edge to the lock gate. Sound right?
Sounds perfect.
Okay. You'll note that the northern gate seems to be pretty decently manned. Looks like there's probably about 12 men of faith in medium armor, holding position there. Yeah. It looks like all the houses are kind of closed and boarded up. A couple of them look like they have been converted into barracks for the men of faith. More to say, it looks like the pieces of real estate have been usurped from the rightful owners by the men of faith, who have taken the establishments that are close to the gate as their own. Raya, you'll note that there's markings on these houses, safe houses, Thieves Guild markings, I mean to say.
I'll be looking for those and any markings along the wall. Also.
Yeah. The walls, not so much. Go ahead and make a perception check, though. 27. Real good. You would note that there's a house not too far from the wall that looks like it's too small to really have anyone in it. Like, nothing more than an outhouse, really. Maybe a little bit bigger than an outhouse. It does have markings, and the markings are noted as entry. To what, you can't be sure.
Where about in the map was that?
So this would be like right around here-ish.
Okay. Okay.
Doesn't look like there's anybody back here, Men of Faith wise.
I'll slip over there and just kind of give it a look-see.
Okay. You can
Figure
go,
out where it leads to.
you can do investigation or perception, your choice. Results will determine what you glean.
16 investigation.
Okay. It does appear to have a signaling trap on it, an alarm, a magical spell, very thin cord of silver wrapped around the, basically just like a handle that you would pull open the door, and a small kind of latching mechanism which would be a lock, but the lock is not closed off. So the door is opened, you could pull it open, but doing so will cause the silver wire to break and signal the alarm. You know that's a magical spell. The only way to get rid of it would be to dispel it, and you'd also know that dispelling it would cause the alarm to trigger.
Pretty good lock. Okay, and does it, just best estimates, does it appear to lead outside the wall or just underground?
Based on what you can see, there's nowhere it could really lead to besides like a small 10 by 10 room. Again, slightly bigger than an outhouse. If there's anything in it, it would have to be down.
I'm good with that. Anybody else want to do anything?
No, I'm headed to the lock gate, trying to look inconspicuous and, post it up against the wall looking like a cool guy.
Okay.
In the city?
When you
Wait
arrive,
for my contraband.
when you arrive there, it's about 35 minutes or so. You hear kind of a oh, and then you see kind of a bundle kind of fall from above you and slam down on the ground. When it hits, there's kind of like a metallic kind of whoosh, and you see the head of the envoy kind of fly out of the thing. You're like confused because it would have taken more than 30 minutes to have arrived here.
Yeah, that's
there. It
excellent
is.
service.
There it is. And you then see that your man, the bartender, is descending down a rope, trying to look inconspicuous in between the tower there and the wall itself. Once he makes it down to the ground, he looks over to you and he says, "Quite a lucky circumstance. Apparently Kinrad was up on a fishing trip up near one of the waterfalls on the high road and happened to find your strange thing. Said he's had it for a while, didn't know what it was, and said that the 5 gold was more than enough to pay him off in taking it. Quite fortuitous." If you
I would
ever
have died if Shambles would have died and respawned in it while the guy was just looking at it.
I'm just in a little fishing hut.
Yep.
You kept staring at a guy and he's staring at you, screaming.
These were the funny bits that could have happened that did not. But yeah,
Oh, do better to kill me. Damn.
I try really hard.
I'm
okay?
sure you do.
Evasion is a son of a bitch. I will never use dexterity saving throws. ever
Oh.
again. And he says,
I wish
"This is
I
what
could
you were
do.
looking for, right?"
Yeah, that's the one.
Perfect.
I'm gonna sort of inspect it, check the palm
Yeah,
for my marking.
it's there. The head popped clean off when it hit the ground, though. That'll take some repairing. But other than that, there's a pile of envoy.
Pretty great.
Sorry about the fall. Kind of slipped out of my hands up there.
Hey, it's an excellent condition. What can I do? I can't be mad.
All right, great.
It's
Well,
been worse.
I'm gonna head back and deal with all the business. If you need me, you'll know where I am.
Tell your friend thanks. I owe him a favor. This means a lot to me.
Yeah, I did. Next time I see him, I will. He says it. He looks at the wall.
Now it's fun.
We'll know somebody a favor. We paid him for this.
I'm not climbing the wall to say thank you. I'm heading home. He heads off. But you've got your bag of envoy. And you're just north of the Hall of Arcana.
You got backspace there?
It needs to need a repair. We should go drop it off at Benson.
Okay.
Yeah. And you also have a place for it there with Benson.
Real quick.
Yes.
Help me with this heavy thing.
Okay.
Roman has no problem. It's not the heaviest chassis there. You make it to the Hall of Arcana with a strange bag. You definitely notice that the Men of Faith see this as kind of something hard that it would be very difficult to hide.
This body-shaped parcel that we're hauling into
Not
the
really hiding it,
library.
we're just
I'll give him
pulling
away
it
on the way by.
The bag clinks enough that they would know that it's not a person. But yeah, it definitely is a confusing sight to see. And you head into the Hall of Arcana.
Wait outside.
Why are you carrying a suit of armor?
Another scribe kind of comes over to you, not the one that was weird before, walks over to you and says, yes, you're making quite a ruckus. If you could stop doing that.
Where's Benson?
You mean the Hand of Mood is?
Yes.
He is currently engaged in studies.
Can you bring him?
I can't do that. I'm not allowed it to the. I do not have access to the hall that he is in. If you have
Can you
something
find
that
somebody who does and have them bring him to us?
I can't do that
He's-
because he's currently
he's
driving home from
probably
work.
very
So I can't do that. Stop asking for a player character you know can't be here. Do you want to leave a note with him or like
Sure.
a body with him?
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you the segue out of this without having to be doing bad Jody impression.
The hand will know what needs to be done with this parcel. If you could make sure it comes to his attention that it arrived.
Thank you for understanding the flow of this table and that there's not a person for me to be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just have the hand work his
you were
magic.
adamant. You're like, give me Benson! Give me Benson! I want to see that Chody impression right now!
I really wanted one, okay?
I'm gone. Leave with the bag. You guys get out of my fucking hall.
I liked the first guy we talked to here better.
Yeah, he was more listening.
He was less third wall breaking and more.
The city, anybody got any sights to see?
I don't have any.
I'm settled up.
Being outside, keeping an eye on the eyes there, keeping an eye on us.
Watching them watch us.
Counter spy.
They appear to be one person less. The group that was kind of hanging outside watching you.
Oh, it's not good for that guy.
I'm just giving him away.
What time of day is it, John?
It's probably mid morning. You guys teleported the next day, so
Shoot pretty early.
yeah. Early morning, mid morning.
So what's the plan? Is it really important, group, that we go straight to that battle to the south, or not really?
I don't know if anybody was talking about joining this battle.
I don't know that
I
we
thought
would
that's
be-
what Raya was saying. We would offer help.
I think he was just saying that.
Well, we can, but go there. We still have to meet the parents. We got
Got
stuff
Sort
to do.
of set the docket for the day.
I'll sign on for a 4-week campaign when I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks.
Got it.
Guys, come on, help me help you get this table to be the way it needs to be, okay? Stop trying to have player characters be places where the players can't have them be. For fuck's sake.
We're gonna get a Raya and a Benson impression out of you eventually.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm hoping that I'm eliciting enough of a concern in the town to learn more, so you don't just walk out of it. But it doesn't sound like I am.
So I wouldn't mind going to Hall of Records to see if I could find anything about Calareth there.
Perfect. You head to the Grand Hall of Records, and entering in, it's not too much of an issue. There's an elderly woman who kind of greets you at the front entrance there, and says, "Hello, very strange individual, not one who's we're familiar with. Your name and your designation."
I am Grok, a druid, servant of Oru.
Ah, a servant of Oru or a sentinel of Oru? I do know there's a distinction.
I serve in both roles.
Well then. Very good. That does provide you with access to certain matters in the Grand Hall regarding the dragon's nature. Would you like to enter the Hall of the Worm to investigate information there, or are you seeking out something specific?
Well, I am seeking out a threat to the worm and to all of us, and I would say Calareth, and he goes by the name of the Fallen Hierophant.
Yes, a lot of people have asked for information regarding this individual, this strange would-be tyrant, but fortunately the Grand Hall of Records has no matters on him. The church some time ago withdrew all information regarding the servants who ruled within the great church's hierarchy. Therefore, we have no records regarding the one known as Calareth. Other than, I can tell you that his true name, before he took on a moniker, a title of an old ancient would-be tyrant himself, was... one second. Right. Carrick Wingard.
Can you spell that?
Like a vegetable?
Carrick.
Belt guard.
Do you know anything about the Wingard family?
There is no Wingard family. Not everyone who has a surname has nobility, royalty, or assignment.
Mm-hmm. And so records of Calareth were expunged as a result of his heresy?
No. Carrick Wingard's information was expunged some time ago when he became a member of the highest order of the church. As I said, the great church pulled all of those records, ensuring that individuals would be right for the positions granted by the high priestess.
Okay, so if you have no records on him, I would be interested in finding out more about Uru.
The hall is yours to access, as you please. And I apologize, I'll be underwater for a bit.
What was that last bit? I didn't hear it.
I'll be underwater for a bit.
Yeah, that's great, super. So what do I learn from if I spend some time searching those records? What I don't already know about.
What are you looking for?
How about anything about his time before his conversion?
Sure. So you will note, as you probably already know, Oru was not the dragon's name before it was redeemed. When it was redeemed by Alron, the gold dragon, before that time, it was a quite evil dragon, as is the case. And a lot of individuals felt that the dragon before Oru was in line to rule over the Pentacraft, which is the five-headed kind of positional rule of dragons in the region. Pentacrats are common in Osiria. They're also common in Barwin and Parnak, but most other provinces don't have pentacrats. That said, Oru was lined up to be the ruler of that until Oru was defeated and redeemed by the gold dragon Auron.
Can you spell that name?
Alraun.
Okay. So the 5 dragons would have been red, black, green, and white. Is that right?
So yeah, black, white, red, green, and blue.
Blue, not gold. Okay.
The chromatic dragons form pentacrats.
Got it.
Since dragons are chaotic beings, and most of them are, I apologize. Since chromatic dragons can be kind of chaotic beings, and no real order besides which one is stronger gets to be the leader, usually happens in Dragonkind. Most Dragonkind in the chromatic side will do whichever one is the most powerful of this order of dragons, so as to allow for a diverse kind of pool of dragons that can be called upon as long as they stay within their own territory. Sometimes pentacrats fall because of dragons infighting. Sometimes pentacrats fall because one of them gets forward or killed by adventurers. All sorts of reasons.
Is there any information about the relationships between the other chromatic dragons and the green dragon?
Sure. So which dragon would you like to study first?
How about the black dragon that we just faced off with?
Orbicus,
sure. Orbicus is a dragon mage who has eluded surveillance for some time. Based on the notes you're looking at here, there's actually records from the Civil War when the conglomerate had power here in Bluegate. Apparently, they were trying to locate Orbicus some 600-700 years ago, and were unable to do so. Orbicus appears to be a very powerful dragon mage. And based on what you understand, Orbicus is also very territorial. Anything that enters into what Orbicus calls his rule, his position, dies horribly. And from what you can see here, Orbicus's terrain, Orbicus's territory, goes from just south of where the mountain stow is, known as the Vein, which would be, hold on, here. Did you see the ping?
Yeah.
The Vein, all the way to the Narrows River, and all the way west to the Dragon's Bane Hills, and all the way east to the Sharps territory. According to what you're able to read here, the Sharps are a goblin tribe that have fought against Orbicus and survived. The Dragon's Bane Mountains are where a tribe of Goliath, known as the Dragonbane, rule, and apparently keep the dragon from exiting the swamps, and then the other natural barriers.
Okay. Do we know if this black dragon is more powerful than the red and the blue that he summoned?
Hard to determine. There's not like a power level gauging. You would know that the dragon's at least 700 years old, which means that they're pretty ancient, or at least very adult.
Okay. Anything about potential weaknesses of these dragons?
No.
That'd be too easy.
You just
Those
boop.
Stab him in the head.
You just boop him in the snoot. You just boop him in the snoot, and that's it.
That's it. Game over.
Give him an old snoot boop, and you win.
Got it. Thank you.
Right there.
Are the
Arcade
are
out
the
of
other
nowhere.
ones mages as well?
So, which one do you want to study next?
Let's look at the new one.
Okay, 1 second here.
For giving me this info dump, I'll take it.
It would be under Dungeon Master. So which one did you say?
Blue, please.
Okay. Totsvig, the Thunderer. Totsvig is a blue dragon that rules over the Southron Plains, according to the information you're able to glean. The dwarven city of Stone Eye is often harangued by Totsvig. It's presumed that she lives somewhere in the Southron Plains, which are kind of a wasteland. I won't say desert because temperatures vary. It's just that the land is uninhabitable. From what you understand historically in these books here, it says that the Southron Plains is very kind of short-handed. We're a part of the original Meridian land that was ceded, and when the alliance between Meridia and Osiria was rended, when Meridia took the lands in the Mere to the north, the Isle of Dard, the lands that they once held to purge the evil magics that they had were salted, and the salting basically turned the lands into wastes.
We're debating in the chat the spelling of this dragon's name.
Totsbig.
I was closest.
I was way off.
Oh wait, no, Grok was closest. Damn it.
That said, the Thunder is a very limitedly known quality. In that the dwarfs seem to have more information regarding the Thunderer. The Totsvig's territory is the entirety of the Southron Plains, the Stone Teeth Mountains, the Stone Eye Mountain, and a bit into the southern portion of the Virens, and the kind of entirety of the West Wailing woods as well.
We haven't been anywhere near that.
Yeah, it's all the way over the fuck there.
Huh.
Unfortunately, nothing about age, power level, or anything kind of close to that kind of material.
9,000.
But the Stone Eye, the dwarven city that I mentioned, would be there.
So anything about the temperament of the dragon? I know you said that the white dragon was particularly aggressive, right?
Regarding Totsvig, no. The
Okay.
only thing that's territorial, and seems to harangue the dwarves of Stone Eye from time to time. For what reason, you don't know. You'd have to talk to those dwarves, but yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to the red one.
Was that the same group of dwarves we met before?
Huh?
Was that the same group of dwarves that we met when we were looking for Mountain Scale?
No. This is a totally different.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all the way over here. Ashma, the red dragon, the self-proclaimed daughter of the goddess of greed, or the demon princess of greed. Ashmad is a red dragon that has taken hold of the Northrun Plains. She is known as the Quiet Ailment. She rules from a dormant volcano north of Ursulon, which is a city on the northernmost portion of what is known as the Mudis region, and is the last kind of bastion before heading to the eastern coast of Osiria province. It's also an indirect way of getting to Valens, which is another pretty decent sized city. I would say Valens is closer to size to Bellum or Ursulon. Like, it's a city, whereas the city you're currently in is only just. That said, Ashmad's temperament is sleeps a lot. When she does awaken, she demands tribute. And from whoever she demands tribute, she either gets it and leaves or goes rampant. Most of the folks in Ursulon have just been giving her tribute. She's not very territorial. She doesn't really do much outside of her immediate kind of establishment. But based on what you do know from what's stated here, is she is a master of combat. It's said that she has engaged with the forces of the Osirian militia in the past 400 years after the Civil War, when they were trying to eradicate the last remnants of these kind of magical power sites. And she was able to thwart the efforts of the militias, the armies, and basically bring them to ruin. There is a field just west of her mountain. It's known as the Spear Yard. And the reason why that's the case is most of the militiamen 300 to 400 years ago were utilizing spears, and there's a shit ton of them standing up on end where people were basically torn apart, burned, and left for dead.
So these are all pushovers, you're saying?
The dragons? Yeah, yep.
We got the 3 of these on at once.
Yeah, the bit you read on Freemus, also known as Hornbeck, is that his brain is very smooth. There's a drawing. It kind of just looks like a pea, and they say actual picture of dragon brain.
I saw it. It was little.
So tiny.
It was smaller than that.
It was smaller than that drawing.
You're too generous in the drawing.
Yeah. But no, there's information about it that you've already garnered.
Have all I need to know.
There's also metallic dragons in the hall.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. So,
Do we know anything about the gold dragon that redeemed Oru?
do you look into it?
Sure.
Okay. So, you will read that the dragon known as Alron is a gold dragon who is said to reside beneath the city of Bellum. The dragon sleeps. The last time that the dragon was awake was during the final conflicts of the Conglomerate War, the Civil War, and is said to have been quintessential in the destruction of the servants of the Conglomerate.
How many years ago was that?
About 600, 500 years ago, I believe. So we're going. Is it? No, wait. We're outside of the Civil War by 100 years. Sorry, I keep doing that.
I forgive you.
My brain. But yeah, about 100 or so years ago, which would be about the time that Oru came into power. So it's presumed that Oru might have sided with the Conglomerate during that age.
Okay, so this might be an interesting ally to get on our side, if we can figure it out. So what else could I learn?
Alron, the only thing that's really known about them is that they reside under the city of Bellum.
When you say, okay, got it, you're giving a gender-neutral pronoun. Got it.
Correct. There's Bronze, which you've already met. The information is they are very focused on remaining in their place, but honor tradition and will side with those who grant tribute. The Bronze Shrine being where they're located, or where she is located. Sorry. Let's see. The Brash Dragon, known as Fainuk, is said to reside on the far western coast of the Cloudy Lake. According to accounts here, they haven't been seen for 200 or 300 years, and it's presumed that Fainuk is dead. But it's according to the information here, Fainuk was a crusader, and during the Civil War, fought alongside the militias against the conglomerate on the Cloudy Lake, because there was a lot of conglomerate holds around Cloudy Lake that were kind of staging points against the capital.
So in terms of alignment, are all chromatic dragons
Chromatic are evil,
evil,
and
metallic
are good.
Good. Okay.
Salon is the Salan, really close to the place where you get your hair did. But Salon is a silver dragon, and it's presumed that Salon no longer resides in the Mudis region. The presumption is that this silver dragon, once they helped establish a number of settlements, according to this notice, even the town of Mudis was helped to be created by Salon. They continued northward towards Valens and Munio. There's no information on. There's no copper dragon in the area, but those are the only metallics: silver,
Okay.
brass, bronze, and gold.
SALAN or SOLAN?
Yep. So the god of dragons is Salond. This is just the name Salond without a D.
Okay. I don't want to take up too much time. I know Brent has a thing to do, so that's cool. Thank you.
I am genuinely stalling until 6:30 or when Jody gets here. Brent.
Wow.
And then Jody, if you're ever listening, yeah, it's all about you, baby.
So, I mean, Grok would just sort of mention to the group that it seems like a good thing to do might be to try to enlist the help of some of these metallic dragons if we could find them. And clearly the bronze ones just want stuff. We could
Now that's what hooked you across the lake.
That's right. Not a big fan, but maybe the gold one seems like.
This is also a proponent of cultural, and it's I'll already say now. I just had the word. The rules, the
Covenant of the Ascended.
Sure, the customs of the dragons.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which means he must at least fairly regularly treat with some of the dragons around him, or he wouldn't be so offended that Oru wasn't treating with him.
Correct.
Right.
So he probably knows where the other metallics are.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's nothing in those books about it, but if you'd like to make an Arcana check or a History check, depending on what you rolled.
I could do Arcana, I think.
Okay, go ahead and make an Arcana check.
19.
Yeah. So traditionally, dragons, despite their metallic/chromatic and alignment and ends differences, will treat with one another and form an interlaced network known as the Council of Worms. So dragons don't all have like a goal in mind, and not all there's no monolith in dragon society. Whereas like all gold dragons are for this thing and they're team gold dragon. The only thing that really contribute to one another is we are dragons and we need to understand each other and keep to ourselves if need be, but also understand the surrounding environs. Because during the early ages, the War of Sword and Serpent, when they didn't do that and there was no connectivity, they went all crazy and all had their this dragon creating a huge power imbalance and trying to destroy the world around them. And the Council of Worms basically is a network of all dragons that kind of report back to these very ancient dragons that rule somewhere in the world of Iana, or Urs. Some believe the Council of Worms rule on an island called Ceosade in Parnax. Some believe the Council of Worms rule on an island known as Dragon's Head in the Dragon Isles, far off the western coast of Iana. Some people say that they rule in the Sea of Frozen Flame, blah, 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 etc., etc. No one knows where the council sits. A lot of people think the council is a specific place because a lot of dragons congregate in those places.
And dragons can move between planes?
If they're high enough spellcasters, anyone can move between planes.
I'm sure a melee one would. If they just swung their sword hard enough, eventually they'll cut through the plane, right? Like, just, whoa.
That's a fair statement.
We'll get there, buddy.
Something to
One day.
somewhere to look forward for you. Yeah, you just keep swinging.
You're a
your-
magic caster. Cut it out.
I can cast some spells.
If I cast Divine Smite hard enough, maybe I can move beyond this plane into another.
Here's the veil.
So what you do is you moonbeam, then you divine smite into it and misty step at the moment you swing the sword, and it just glitches the entire magic out, and you just go through planes.
They just enter no clip mode.
Exactly.
Just
Never
moving
be
through a wall.
pushed. Just God mode entered.
I'll fly up as high as I can, sprint downwards at the ground, and then go under.
You know what? I'm welcome to all of these plans and ideas. Let's go through them one by one. And
I got bodies to
In
go
16 minutes.
I've got bodies to go through.
Anyway.
I can give the
Maya's
couple
just
these a
gonna
shot.
watch.
I wouldn't mind. I want to communicate with the person in
On the window.
what was it, the tower?
Back in the map.
The guards
Oh, sorry, moving the map.
place?
So yeah, that was in the Hall of Commons.
I was in the Hall of Commons? I thought it was
No,
at the
Bluegate
Fortress.
Fortress, the one you saw in the window ducking.
Yeah, behind them, at the Hall of Commons.
Oh, she was there.
A woman
Okay.
looking out at you, confused when you came.
I'm sorry. I
It
didn't-
sounded
I
like
didn't-
we saw her in the window of Bluegate Fortress.
Yeah, I didn't pursue the situation because I thought she was in the fortress. Like, I don't want to get people arrested.
Sorry, apologies. That again, we know that I'm not always clear. I did
No,
say
that's
I did
fair.
say Hall of Commons. I wanted to stress that, but I should have stressed it harder. No worries. That said, yeah, she would have been in the Hall of Commons.
I do want to go and visit the Hall of Commons. I don't know that I've been there before.
Okay. You head on over. The door is currently shut to you, but it does look like someone sees you approach and kind of opens the door and looks at you and says, "Yes, dwarvish homunculus."
Shambles.
Oh,
Pleasure.
likewise.
Yeah.
To come in.
Oh, thank you.
Human.
Thank you.
You enter in.
Anybody wanted to come with? I just wanted to be
I'm
sure.
with-
I'm there, but at the door. Brock, are you done?
Probably still studying.
Yes, done.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, then everyone kind of waited around while he studied, and then you guys went to the Hall of Commons.
I've been waiting outside of doors, just keeping an eye on.
Man of faith.
Jeremy's counter spying.
Got it. None of them seem to
Right,
follow
and I
you.
got bored.
None of them seem to follow you into establishments. But the thing you're noticing is every time that someone or you guys go into it, they cycle someone out. Like a runner's going back to somewhere and telling on you. That said, when you enter into the Hall of Commons, you'll see that the woman leading you in is kind of a matronly woman who seems to be very studious. There are a couple of other studious women present. One is an exact. It has to be the one you saw in the window. The glasses are really the telltale. The massive kind of lenses. But they all kind of are looking at you strangely and not really too concerned with the others with you. The matronly woman, the one who let you in, kind of stops in the middle of the hall as she leads you into it, turns and faces you and says, "What can I do to assist you?"
Oh, I hate to intrude. I'm sure you folks are busy here.
Not at all.
Again, apologies. I don't know necessarily what this building is. My associate and I were hoping to visit the fortress south of here, and we saw activity in the window. We thought we could find out more of what's going on. Nobody's at the fortress.
Matilda informed us of your presence there. How did you enter into the city of Bluegate?
I was fortunate enough to travel with a mage by way of teleportation circle.
Are you willing to submit yourself to a spell?
Sure.
She begins casting a spell.
You know what? I have fallen for this trick before.
She casts a spell
Woke up with a bad case of hay fever.
and kind of catches you into a zone. You feel like a wisdom check or a wisdom saving throw would be required if you wanted to resist it. If you don't want to resist it and willingly fail it, you then feel compelled to tell the truth beyond.
No,
that point.
yeah, I'm gonna let her go through with it. Is she doing it to the both of us, or am I the guinea pig on this?
Yeah, Brooklyn, if you're standing near him, you would be
Yeah, I'm, like,
the
right
same
next
spell.
to him.
Then are you willingly submitting yourself to the spell?
I know what the spell does, so yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay. She then looks you directly in the eyes and says, "Are you with the men of faith?"
No.
She looks over.
No, ma'am.
She looks over to Matilda. Shut the door. The woman with the glasses, the lenses, now identified as Matilda. She says, Matilda, shut the door. Runs over to the door, looks at Raya, and then just kind of cautiously shuts the door, leaving you outside. Grok, are you inside?
I don't know.
Thought he was at the library.
He said
So
he was done.
I was finished, but then did you go ahead? I guess I'd be following behind.
Okay, if you're inside of the room, are you submitting yourself to the spell or no?
Sure.
Okay. So she shuts the door, leaving Raya outside. The matronly woman kind of looks to you, all after asking you directly, are you with the Men of Faith? Demanding a response. If you say no, that's when she shuts the door. Does everyone say no, or do you...
Correct.
Okay. Great. Once the doors are shut, she says, good. Now, a few more questions. Are you with the Crimson Scarves?
No.
Is your master Calorath?
God,
Absolutely not.
No.
0%.
You know nothing of us if you think that.
Are you a servant of the Curios?
No.
I don't think so.
Not at the moment, at least.
We go our own way.
She kind of
We've done some work for the guy out west, east.
She closes her hands and the spell kind of fades away. Then we can treat. I'm Aluru. I am the Lady of the Commons here in the city of Bluegate. I'm also the servant treasurer of the city as well. The coffers were raided by the Men of Faith shortly after the Curios left. It was their desire to secure most of the wealth of the city and of the church. Unfortunately for them, most of it is kept inside of the reliquary tower, unable to be touched by mortal hands, unless specifically cared for in a specific way. They cannot enter the tower, they cannot touch the matters, and they threaten us daily. So I apologize for the necessary measures to ensure that you are who you propose to be and aren't someone trying to do harm to anyone within. So,
Gonna respect security.
I did not ask specifically what your goals here in the city are, but you wished to meet with the members of the militia. They have headed southwest now and are currently engaged in battle with the servants of the Cult of the Dragon.
We had heard such a thing. Truly, we were passing through. I had a couple small errands in the town, and I'll procure some of the scarves I had on my person. As you asked, we are heavily against the Crimson Scarves. I was hoping to lay claim to a bounty that was offered before.
What was the bounty that they offered? Matilda kind of looks over. I believe it was 10 a scar. Looking to Shamus for confirmation.
As far as I know, that's correct.
I suppose that would not be too horrible a matter to deal with, although a bit strange. It is the honoring of the Curios' wishes to pay such bounty. How many do you have there?
I currently own 6.
She looks over to Matilda. We should be able to afford it.
I insist you don't pay. Your city's not in a good way right now. Please hold these in good faith.
We serve.
I'll just hand them over.
She says, we serve at the Curios' pleasure. It is his desire that this bounty be paid. So, I'm sure that you did not go through the process of acquiring these scarves by happen chance. I'm certain that you went through dire matters yourself to acquire them.
You'd be surprised.
These 6 in particular, not precisely. That was very, very, very easy to do.
Fair enough. She says as she hands those over to another of the attendants, who takes them away. She then looks back to you. So you were just there to claim bounty, and you've re-entered the city through what means?
As I said, a teleportation circle. We travel with a mage.
You did say that. Oh yes.
Wizard.
You are
Spellcaster.
With the
I don't remember.
The hand of Mutus. I recognize you by your descriptions now. seemed familiar, but
What are folks calling us now?
the Hands Retinue?
Yeah, that'll work. He's famous.
So, if it's not too much trouble, if I could ask you to do me a favor.
Seem like an issue? What have you got?
If you could leave the city as quickly as possible.
Suppose that would be easy to accomplish. Is
Yeah.
there issue in my being here?
If I understand correctly, your leader, who does not appear to be present with you, I assume he's still at the Hall of Arcana?
Oh yeah, voracious leader. Reader, sorry.
He may be in danger.
Oh?
That does make me upset.
Some of the wizards are intent on allying themselves with the Men of Faith and securing rulership of Bluegate away from the Lord, who was granted title and right by blood, not by deed.
I would like to be excused.
I
Of
would.
course. Before you leave, if anybody has any other questions, we're going to hold off on that for a second. I just want to make sure before Shambles storms out, something else is dealt with. Ryan, you're kind of sitting there on the step, kind of looking to the Men of Faith. You kind of see them kind of looking at you, looking you over. Looking at the situation where you stand, directly across the street from where you're looking, there's kind of a building, right? And to the left of that is kind of like an open road that leads towards the home of the Curios and the like. To the right of that, it kind of leads to kind of a back alley in between the house I'd mentioned directly across from you and kind of a long house. They're kind of standing just like near that opening, right? Yeah, so this kind of position here is a bit more narrow than it looks. It kind of is like an alley between the two, not a full thoroughfare. And you watch as they're kind of standing there looking, at you, keeping an eye on you. You see a third party kind of appear from the shadows behind them, kind of coming around the building. You then see kind of a glint of like bright silver shoot out from their cloak, impale one of them, and as the other one's about to kind of call out, the sword flips out of that person, and this kind of blue spark appears on the blade, shoots off the blade, and slaps the guy in the face so hard he falls to the ground. The cloaked figure with the sword, as it comes out, kind of looks down at the two, pulls the cloak and throws it over the two, and you see that it's Donovan. He looks over at you and kind of gestures. And as he does so, he grabs the cloak, which seems to have secured itself around the two bodies, and he just starts dragging them into the alleyway.
Are there any other of them around?
Nope, just those two.
Yeah. I'll just kind of mouth, "You're not supposed to be here," as I walk over.
He looks to you as you kind of come into the alleyway and says, "No, neither are you." You were weirdly wonky. Say that again?
I'm not supposed to be anywhere. Nobody wants me.
Fair enough. We didn't meet up at the end of our matters up on the mountains.
Sorry about that. Shit went sideways, and we got teleported across the world.
We killed that dragon.
Well, it seems that my efforts were problematic. Shortly after they ascended to the apex of... Oh, come on, Cat. Now...
Donovan, keep familiar under.
A favor, remind Donovan he is still in my employ.
Fair. He says, shortly after they reached the apex, our frost giant brethren, with the aid of some of the fire giants, were able to force them to retreat. I called for us to... Oh my goodness, Cat. I called for us to rout them and make sure that none of them escaped. Unfortunately, the frost giants were not too keen on the idea of moving themselves down the mountain and after them. I had heard that you had made your way into the heat of the Phoenix and did something therein. That said, the dragon spawn and the dragon cultists up on the mountain escaped and seemed to regroup with Caloret in the hills to the south of Barod. And then, shortly after that, a couple of days after that, they regrouped with a force on the southern side of those hills and are now in conflict with the Lord's people here. When I heard that the Lord had left, I assumed that the men of faith had left, hoping that they would have engaged, and this would have been a perfect time to speak with the Master Smith at the cutting edge. Unfortunately, he also had left, and
Quite the opposite.
yes, quite indeed. Make a perception check real quick. Sorry. I didn't have you do it inside of the building because I was mainly talking to...
21.
Yeah, you would have had advantage for it. It would have been something you would have looked for, but you didn't mention it in the cutting edge, and I forgot to mention it. The dupe or the duplicate sword, the fake one, it wasn't in the cutting edge. But he says, I went to speak with them and have some repairs done to my father's sword. But unfortunately that wasn't able to be done, and I have bound myself into the city, and I'm unable to get out. But the thing is I don't really want to leave. These individuals parade behind the faith of Atavius and use it to usurp what is rightfully people's, claim it as their own. I want to do more, but I don't have much assistance here. As fortune has it, I now have you.
I just want to punch him in the mouth that time he kicked my ass.
Do you punch him?
Like, yeah, now we're even. Let's go.
If you do punch him, he doesn't seem to like.
You're even.
He doesn't seem to see it coming, and I know you don't have a strength, like a massive strength score. It's like +2, right?
1.
Okay, so you put a nice little kind of like
You hurt your hand.
you put a nice little red mark on his face. Like he doesn't see it coming. And kind of looks up at you, and kind of goes, "All right, fair.
Now I'm ready.
I mean, I suppose I'm willing to deal with such slights to my honor, knowing that you
Your
have
honor, how do you think I feel?
you have a lot of power over me as it stands, knowing what you know."
Nest, I stabbed the guy. I didn't stab the guy. Like, you come out of nowhere and kick my ass. That's hardly fair.
He shakes his head. Well, if it's any consolation, there's a lot of guys I want to stab.
Me too.
A lot of guys.
So many.
I don't mean to be rude in this matter, but I don't think your friends are going to be very helpful in what I have planned.
Moment. I'm gonna run back over there and just stab a note to the door.
No, as you're running up and you're about to stab the note to the door breaks open and Shambles is coming out, storming like he's heading somewhere important. And then
I
you're
stab a note to Shambles' face and they just disappear.
Cool, fine, I'll be back.
Cool, fine,
I'll
whatever.
read this later.
That's exactly what my note also says.
He says, "I'll read this later," and slams into the house across the street because the note's covering his eyes.
Goes
Go-
through
go
it.
on.
I'll just Kool-Aid Man through the fucking town. I got a Benson to rescue.
Yeah.
I'm in the Juggernaut body, bitch. You see Raya dip off. Note kind of pulled to the side. You head out, Grok and Brooklyn. As Shambles starts off, you did sound like you had other questions for the lady, but the second the door opens, she kind of raises her hands. It was very nice meeting you all.
That's fine. I'll go right after Shambles. I know I can't keep up with him, but
Okay.
Grok looks to Rooklyn and is like, "What is going on here?"
Make perception checks, the two of you. And if you're not wanting to be seen, Ryan, go ahead and make a stealth check. Yeah, you don't see anything.
17 for Grok.
Yeah, you don't see anything.
14.
Somehow an actual tumbleweed is in the street.
Yeah, you'd literally have to add yours to just beat him by 1.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
But yeah, you rush off, not knowing where Raya went to. He was just outside, but now he's not. And you head on north. When you return back to Donovan, he begins to outline his plan. I can tell you about that now, or I can leave that into the notes to the side.
Let's let
Okay.
Zach run after.
Shambles rushing off the door kind of forced me to fast track that, so I'm sorry. So
think it's a good segue. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't have much more for you.
Oh, we don't have Benson yet.
For a few minutes.
Okay, that's fine. Let's see if we can't get a Jody on board here for the nice conversions, but it would have been perfect.
That would have been great if he showed up just the last 3 minutes.
I should have anticipated the second I said he might be in trouble to, oh, I gotta go get Benson.
Yeah, it's kind of my thing.
Okay. So you rush up the way. You do notice that the men of faith are trying to tail you. They are not trying.
What's your top speed again, Zach?
Top speed, if I'm dashing and all of it, 170.
Like I was saying, they're not keeping up with you.
165.
They are keeping up with Grok and Brooklyn. No issues. If Grok and Brooklyn lose sight of you very quickly, if you're not caring about them and going full tilt, you make it to the Hall of Arcana. You enter in, and a third scribe, is present. And he says, "Oh, yes, hello. How can I assist you?"
Direction of the Hand of Mutis.
I believe you would be in Mudis.
He arrived here with me this morning. Where is he?
Oh, I wasn't made aware of that. 1 second, let me check.
I'll come with
go
you.
to the
Make an
restriction
insight check.
section.
Make a what?
Insight check.
8 again. Jesus.
My inspiration.
Okay, 22. He seems to be kind of stalling.
Yeah, I'll get it myself. This way, right? Holler Records, somewhere I'm not allowed to be?
Excuse me, he kind of trying to chases after you. Do you just move past him, or are you
I'm going.
Okay, you're not, you just...
I'm looking for gates. I'm looking for doors that...
So you're using the Sonic the Hedgehog mentality of just outrunning him versus the Knuckles mentality of just bludgeoning him down and then moving past him, right?
I don't need to fight this guy.
Okay. He seems to let you pass. Go ahead and... Let me see here. Make a wisdom saving throw.
13.
Just passing. You feel like he cast a spell on you from behind, and you resisted it, but only just.
Green ones will take care of you.
Continuing on.
I'm going. I'm through doors.
All right. Make either an investigation check or a perception check, depending on your choice determines your result.
17.
Okay. So you're looking around, and do you remember kind of where he was? Because you did stay with him for a time in the hall that he was in before. So you head over in that direction. You're kind of looking around for him, and you don't see him right off. And then you remember that he kept on, every time he went to write spells, he would dip into this little side room. And you don't see anybody present here. So you move over to that room, and you see the door shut. And you're kind of like, he never shut the door before. That you remember. You open the door, expecting to see the worst, and he's just sitting there at the table. Got a book.
I'll wait there with him.
Best Chody impression. Hey, what's going on, Shambles?
Already in the book, he wouldn't even address him.
Oh, fine. Yep. Well, no, it was a sudden door opening. It was like,
Well, Cody's in his book. Nothing else exists. Remember
Okay.
last time he did?
I agree. You're right. You're right. He doesn't even notice you enter.
Benson, we've been asked to leave the city. I recommend we take the advice.
Huh?
You were actually the city.
Looks up. Oh, okay. Damn.
You might want to text Jody.
That's Fireball.
He kind of looks down at the book. Well, damn. Yeah.
We'll return the books later. Grab that one.
He kind of looks around. Yeah. Takes the book and says, "Put it in your bag. Put it in your bag.
Who am I going to tell?
Shh. Put it in your bag."
No.
Who would I tattle to? Raya?
Grok and Brooklyn, you enter into the main entryway, and you would see that there's about 6 magely types kind of standing in the room, and one of them's kind of saying something. They all kind of stop and look in your direction as you enter in.
Did a robot come through here earlier?
Please leave. One of them says.
No, we're gonna wait till he comes back out. He should be out soon.
If that's the case, you then see him kind of wave his hands very quickly, and you see a green wall appear around you and above you, barring you from entering into the Hall of Arcana, but not barring you from leaving it. Basically, a wall of force has been put around you and atop you, kind of creating a half cube, blocking you from entering.
Thought of everything. Hate magicians.
Benson kind of like tucks some of the books into your bag and then kind of looks to you. Wait, where are we going? I'm not good at Chody.
Rooklin's mom and dad!
Okay.
How many times do I have to say it?
Wait, do we need to go quickly? Yeah, as you're kind of coming out, you would be able to see from this position, like
What
there's
did I do now?
there's kind of like a balcony that looks down in the main foyer, and you would see what's happening at this very moment, which would be Brooklyn and Grok have been barred from entering. The other 6 mages finish their conversation. You see one kind of turn around and kind of look up in your direction. Make a quick stealth check. Benson is too small to look over the railing. You see that he's about to turn and look at you, and kind of like is like,
I take a knee to get down to Benson's height.
You gotta drop down and kneel down to talk to him. Listen, buddy. Yeah, so
Changing of the guard. There's a political climate going on in this town I don't feel comfortable in. We've been advised to leave.
We're just trying to go outside?
Out of the town, yes.
He kind of looks at you. Are we being stopped from leaving?
I had gotten that far.
You muted, Brent.
Well, why'd you
I just said might be.
drop
myself.
Why'd you drop down like that?
Oh.
Didn't you probably tell him that they're trying to get him?
I don't know what they want with him.
She said that they're trying to get favor with the Men of Faith, and I'm assuming if they capture him, they would get some kind of power.
I'm not thinking that far ahead.
Well, look, do we need to get out of here or what?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back in here for a second. Let's put a couple more books in that bag. And he starts shoving them in. Raya would approve.
These look expensive.
Raya would approve of this. This would be okay with Raya, he says. And that's what I'm going to have to tell myself. He says as he kind of, never let anybody else play me ever again. He grabs your hand and says, let's go. And you both disappear. And appear just behind Grok, Brooklyn, and Brooklyn.
When did he learn to do that?
Dimension-
Anyway, Grok,
Dimension
Brooklyn,
door.
we out.
All right, let's go.
That still sounds like a bad name for that spell.
Agreed.
I agree.
I hate the name of this spell. Okay, so once you appear outside, the other two kind of turn and look at you. And Benson's kind of looking through the force cage with the mages on the other side and waves. You see them kind of annoyed, and the one who brought up the force cage kind of make it disappear. And then pushes his hands out, and the 2 doors slam shut.
I've been kicked out of nicer places. Let's get out of here.
Benson kind of shrugs. I mean, I feel really dumb about it. If they are wanting to bar us from ever entering there again, they're gonna have to destroy that circle. He kind of laughs.
We come and go as we please.
Yeah.
We know what we want.
They should have been nicer. Where are we going? And he can keep up just with everybody except for fucking Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Where are you heading?
I guess we're gonna try to head out of the city now, right?
Which way?
We're getting them towards the south gate, southern gate.
Yeah.
Like I said, some of them kind of arrive there. It looks like more men of faith have kind of kept tailing you. As you start to move, some of them kind of look at you like they're about to move to kind of intercede, and they see that you now have the Hand of Mutus with you, and they kind of start backing away, moving out of the road so that they're not barring your passage. You move and continue on. None of them follow.
Cool.
Smart boys.
You move.
I don't
past
see Raya anywhere on the way to the gate.
No. You would.
I'll read that note now.
What does the note say?
Soon.
You were half
See you
beat.
soon.
See you soon, Raya.
That guy.
Benson.
Gonna come back with a tan, probably.
And a mullet.
Benson, who's still trying to get, like, there's the giddiness of having to stole a bunch of books, and then there's the guilt of it.
Oh gosh.
Hey, I've got the books. I stole them.
He also he's also coming to terms with that. He looks over to you and he says, "Where is everybody?" As you're heading towards the southern gate, and the town is basically empty. You see that the southern gate has a number of men of faith kind of guarding it. It does look like there is a high house next to that location that looks like it's been commandeered, similar to the houses near the north gate. This looks like it was a manse. Someone of import was probably living in this big house, but no longer. And it does look like more start to come out onto the street as you're kind of heading that way. Not in reaction to you. It seems like in reaction to someone who arrived prior to you. You'd be able to notice this just as you kind of come around the corner just near the reliquary tower.
Okay.
So you don't have to continue on that way. You'd see that the western gate is comparatively lax.
That to
You
you
could
too.
just circle around there.
Well, the south gate itself is being occupied by.
Yeah, but if we go around the western gate, we can kind of just circle around.
Oh, yeah.
The southern way.
Head
That way
south
we
from
can
there.
try to
Just
avoid
go
as much
off-road.
trouble as possible.
It's only like 200 feet apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna walk through like 2 farm properties.
Yeah, you definitely want to do it outside of the wall, probably closer to the forest line, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll go like a half mile down the road, and then skedaddle across the countryside back to the southern road.
Sounds good. The militiamen stop you at the gate. The gate is closed. They look to you. Travelers, where are you headed?
We wish to.
Manager.
Everybody make an intelligence check real quick.
Oh boy,
It's my strength.
it's not bad.
But not mine.
Damn, boys, what's going on?
We are all dumb.
Whoops.
Go ahead, continue, because Benson wasn't aware to be able to catch what I was going to try and throw out there for you.
Feet.
Yeah, we were told the Kyrios may be in danger. We owe the man a favor. We wish to go visit him on the battlefront.
Oh, well then, yes, post haste. You're not going to be welcomed back into the city, so please make sure that you return back with the Kyrios, he says, and the gates are being opened as he kind of makes a hand gesture. You head through?
Very good.
Yep.
Head down the road, pass through the first farm, then rush through their crops into the forest around, out to the southern gate path.
Scare off some crows as we're running through.
Perfect.
Every day.
Yeah, everything went a little faster than I was intending.
I'm sorry, you pushed the Benson's in danger button. There he is.
Sorry.
Why don't you go back and talk about a couple more dragons? That was super fun.
I should have let that go longer. I'm sorry.
Don't lie, that was good information. You know it.
Oh, but sure. But you also like to complain about like Vic sitting in a library for entire sessions.
Fair.
Did it to us.
Is that you, Charlie?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. Perfect timing.
You're about 15 minutes later than we'd have loved you to be, but so good to have you. I did a daring rescue.
In case you haven't caught up, you're essentially banned from the whatever that thing. I can't see the name of the city.
Hall of Arcana
Hall of
you heading
Arcana.
out?
in a few minutes.
What did you do?
Hold on.
Don't worry
They were
about it.
trying to
I
kidnap
rescued
you
you.
in a way to trade you over to the Men of Faith,
Oh,
so we just
They
kinda stopped them.
weren't.
You stole some books too.
Yeah, you
Not
also stole
dead.
some books.
The important thing is you're not. There was a daring
Yeah.
yet unnecessary rescue.
Okay.
You're fine.
So, you exit Bluegate and head back into the Wild Blue Yonder. So, yeah. Post Bluegate,
All done. Bye, guys.
Okay.
Take care. Have fun.
Good luck.
Just with the
Man,
process of fixing the
Hope your
stream.
team
Tag,
wins.
I'm coming in.
Tag out, tag in.
Yep.
Tag team.
I'll see you in an hour or so.
Get out of the Zoom.
Working on it. There you go.
All right. Perfect. Says that part where I had to fix the stream to allow for him to stay. Okay, so I don't see the little guy token. Can you move him to Bluegate, please?
Yep.
Perfect. Count how many hexes are between there and the port town of Kelswar.
Oh, Kelswar.
Or between Kelswar.
I'm assuming you're going to pass by there or stop. So a total of 1, 2, 3, looks like 3 hexes. So give me 3 d20 rolls.
This time?
13,
Alright.
11, and 4.
And Shody, you want a real quick synopsis of what happened for you and your character's point of view?
Might be good.
Sure. You arrived in the Hall of Arcana. You said, I'm going to stay here and read books. They left. Shambles came back about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, maybe 3, and was like, we gotta go kind of situation. And you're like, I'm going to steal these books. And you stole the books that you were reading because you didn't want to stop reading them.
Hey, I told him it would be fine if we took those books and we.
And you said Raya would approve of this as you were stealing
I
the
said,
books.
who am I gonna tell? Who am I gonna tell? Raya?
And so you stole,
We grabbed some books.
you stole 4 tomes of interest to you, which I will detail with you in side chats at a later time. It will be important in the immediate future. With those 3 d20 rolls, nothing really much happens for the mid portion of the day as you wind into kind of like the mid-afternoon portion and make it to Kelswar. What you will notice is that from this distance, you can see what look like explosions and bursts coming from across this outlet of the Cloudy Lake on the northern sect of it, over near map marker, which I'm going to go ahead and change the name of now to what you all kind of have an idea of it being.
The carrot top.
So, yeah. The presumed conflict is happening around here,
On the road in between.
on the road in between. That said, you make it to Kelswar. It looks like this small town is little more than about 5 buildings. One of them a massive warehouse right on the waterfront, and about 10 small docks, none of which currently has a boat in it. There's a few people that are kind of out and about. They see you approaching, and most of them kind of move into their houses very quickly on sight of you.
Are we going there?
It's a halfling.
No, it's you're just passing by it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're going to
You don't have to go into Kelswar if you don't want to. It's just mid-afternoon at this point. It'll be nightfall if you continue traveling about in between you where you. It will become nightfall on the road, is what I'm saying. So you'll be traveling into the night if you continue.
Oh, I'm fine with that. It's just the Caloret. So I was like, oh no, we don't want to go there.
Oh
yet.
no, you're not going there. No.
Just keeping an eye on it.
What you would have been told on the way from Bluegate to Kelswar is that, apparently the Kyrios of Bluegate sent all of his militiamen and all of the military he could muster to Caloris Lair to fight him.
all his forces and all his men.
Yeah, the
Oh, they're gone.
The Hamstring Hills was filled with a lot of baddies, and also the dragon spawn and cultists from the attack on Barad that moved up into the mountains retreated and seemed to have regrouped with them. So bad news. Oh wait, you wouldn't know that part. That part, the Barad part, you do not know. Sorry. That's again another Jeremy secret. But
He's doing solo adventures with his pal Donovan, who
Yeah.
still works for me, I assure you.
yeah, he will be gone for a number of sessions. It's okay. But yeah, that said, do you want to stop in Kelswar, or do you wish to move on?
To you guys, I'm good to go.
I can sleep
Let's
on the road.
go.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go.
Go ahead and give me 1, 2, 3 more d20 rolls.
I could do
Doing it.
You're
I'm
doing
doing
Okay.
it.
Do it.
4, 3, 17.
17 is not good.
Night falls just outside of Banser. Go ahead and roll a d20 roll. Or
Go ahead.
D100 roll.
19.
Let me check my chart.
Good chart full of magic items.
So far, you guys have been rolling pretty lucky on those. Not as well as you were doing in the Chult game, but yeah.
Yeah, the Juggo mayonnaise.
What good those did.
For sure. 19, you said.
Yes, 19 out of 100.
All right. Oh, that's not that hard one. Okay, so you see that there are what appear to be a number of bodies. The hills kind of have at this point near Banser. The path kind of winds along the coast, probably about 30 or so feet off of the water, and then like to the inland portion of the path, which is probably about 40 feet wide. The inland portion, there's kind of a cliff that kind of goes up into the rocky hills, the Howling Hills. The wind is blowing through here, and the name is very clear where it comes from. It seems that crags throughout the hills kind of are very porous and kind of create a howling nature throughout. But as you're kind of walking along, you see that just along the path on the wall, there appear to be about 10 dead bodies that are lanced to the wall. And it looks like some of them have been dead longer than others. It does look like they are all kind of dead in the same way. From what you can tell as you kind of look to inspect them, it looks like their throats have been slit, their ankles have been slit, and their wrists have been slit. And it looks like the blood that is pooled at the ground at their feet kind of runs in a vein into the water of Cloudy Lake. It's not currently like flowing or splashing or anything, but yeah, it's.
How long ago does it seem the oldest and the newest of them?
Medicine checks would be required for both of those.
Anybody capable of that? I'm not trained in medicine.
I am not trained.
I'll give it a shot, but okay, that's better.
We're out of Bluegate. Let's switch the music. All right, 19 on the oldest one would tell you that probably the better part of 2 weeks. 2 6-day, rather.
Okay, and then for the youngest one, there's only a 10.
Yeah, you're saying within the hour.
So anywhere they range from about 2 weeks ago, give or take, to pretty daggone soon, earlier today.
So again, the way that they are mounted on the wall, it seems like the core of them, like probably just under the rib cage, something very heavy kind of lance has been impaled into them, into the craggy rock. If you inspect the lance, it appears to be made out of a obsidian for half of it, and then it looks like the obsidian head of it, which is kind of like a large kind of boar or like lance head, has kind of been bored out in the back and has been fed in with a just a piece of wood, like a regular staff, making a weird kind of jagged spear thing.
How deeply does it penetrate the wall behind him?
About a foot.
That's a lot of force going behind these.
And the lances aren't small. I want to make sure that's appreciated. So
I assume not.
They're probably about an orange, like in diameter, and they're probably jutting off of the dead bodies about 6 feet. So probably 7 foot long shafts we're talking about.
Could these have been like a ranged weapon, like some kind of ballista, something like that? Is that the impression I'm getting?
They could have been, but based on the throat slitting and the wrist slitting and the ankle slitting, your presumption is that they were mounted ceremoniously.
Huh. Benson, your thoughts? Should we make camp?
I don't think that's a good idea. I think we might want to move ahead a little bit, not stay here.
Do you want to investigate the area any further, or just head on to Banser?
I want to scout around the area a little while.
Okay. You can either make a perception check or survival check, or
Could I help? Go ahead.
or an investigation check, whichever one of those three. And anybody is welcome to make any one of those checks.
I will do the survival check.
Okay. Shambles, I'm assuming you do that aloft. Is that right?
Ugh, gross.
I'm gonna get up off the ground a little ways.
Okay. So, a couple things you'll be noticing from your vantage point. The water, where the blood's kind of draining off into it. It looks like there are a number of rocks kind of in the water 30 feet down. From what you can tell, it looks like the water seems to be kind of flowing in a way that's kind of splashing against the wall, but just underneath where the blood's kind of draining off, it doesn't seem to hit against anything. If you kind of maneuver out a little bit and kind of look down, you'll see that there's a 5-foot kind of arch of stone that seems to lead into the rock base. And it seems that the blood kind of forms just a really dreary looking trail all the way down to that. But a 24 will also get you the fact that there does look like there are a number of small pathways and foot traffic that leads up into the rocks. Kind of small little climbing posts and pathways that lead up into the hills proper.
I'll try to keep my voice down, let them know, see if they can't identify
You can't
based
talk
on
to
who
them.
they are.
You can't talk to them while aloft. You'll note that the winds as they're blowing and the kind of sounds they make, the namesake of the hills, halt you from being able to communicate out and afar.
I'll stay aloft. I'll keep myself visible, but I do want to track up the paths a short distance to see if there's not something waiting for us down the road.
Okay. What you will see is what appears to be kind of a dark shadow kind of move out of the water, out of the cliff face, into the lake proper. It's very kind of weird looking, serpent-like, but it just kind of moves out of the cliff face into the lake proper.
It's tremors.
Sea tremors.
Well, I'm going to land. I'm going to call for the others to stay away from the water. And I'm going to take the rear on this one, and we're going to move out.
All right. And you head on to Banser. Very strange sight to be sure. When you see Banser up ahead, basically the road has given way to a bit more of an open air. But you see that the town itself is kind of down and in and like right on the water. So you're kind of coming up a bit and then descending down into like a little bowl of a kind of recess inside of the last portion of the hills. It looks like there are a number of different paths that kind of lead up into the hills and a couple of small houses therein. But seeing the town for the first time in a while, it doesn't really look like much has changed, Brooklyn. You can recognize pretty much everything. You know that Mother typically will travel south-southwesterly. There aren't many trees remaining, but most of the logging that's done for Banser is kind of done here, and it's some of the last bit of logging that's done in the region. The Howling Hills used to have an entire forest to its south side, but during the Civil War that was gobbled up. You would know that the fishing ships are just getting back in, it looks like. Looks like a couple are still out, from what you can remember. But it looks like the hall's pretty great from what you can tell. And you can see your house just there on the south middle side of the town. It does appear that the lights are on. And your parents are probably still awake. Your dad probably invested in a good book, and your mom probably asleep, or they could be engaged in some other activity.
I guess let's head towards them. If nobody else has any objections.
All right.
Nope.
Heading on to Rooklin's house. All right. It's not a massive building, to be sure. It does look like it could house 3 people comfortably. You kind of move up to it, onto the porch. You can hear the familiar creaks. You're already getting the kind of wave of familiarity in the sense. You're pretty sure that your mom, probably did quite a bit of work today based on the smell of cypress kind of just present. And you're pretty sure Dad managed to muster up a nice fish gumbo for supper based on the scents you're kind of gathering right at the door. As you kind of look to the door, do you knock or do you walk right in?
I'm gonna knock.
Okay. Who the fuck is that? You hear a womanly voice say on the other side.
It's me, I'm home.
And then you say that, and then you hear, oh! You're pretty sure they were about to devolve into an argument as to who was going to get up and go and get it. But then once they know it's you, they both appear at the door and open it. Those of you who aren't Rooklyn would see a man standing about 5'4", probably I would say a little heavy set, kind of a very burly kind of northernman's beard. As far as look and just kind of features, he doesn't look like a standard Osirian man like you've seen throughout and about. He does have a very northern kind of look to him. His hair is brown. It does look like it's kind of a lighter shade of brown than most of the folks you've seen in the region. He has some pretty cool looking tattoos on his wrists and forearms, and he has around his neck a holy symbol, a pair of wings kind of settled around a gemstone, an emerald. He looks really happy. His cheeks are nice and flush, and he immediately kind of reaches out to grab Rooklyn by one arm or shoulder. On the other side of this gentleman, you see an orc woman standing about 6'7". She is literally just shredded, like muscles. Looks like she could bench press half your party, no problem. She is wearing just kind of loose, looks like cotton clothing, as is the gentleman. She does look like she has a couple of fresh nicks and cuts kind of on her hands and cheeks, but it doesn't seem to affect her too much. She's not terribly concerned. Her hair's wet. Looks like she probably just recently, cleaned after a long day's worth of work. And she reaches out and grabs the other shoulder. They both bring you in for a double parent hug, which is probably the rarest thing that's ever happened in Dungeons and Dragons. And they say, "Ha ha! Our knightly boy." Who the fuck are these people? She says.
This is my party I've been traveling with, and I introduce them each.
Well, come in. Let's not make a scene. She says. She looks out to the neighbors' houses, and they drag you on into the front room. And as you're kind of entering in, she seems to kind of move towards the kitchen, like she's about to try and kind of be host-like. She cares more about appearances than your dad does. And your dad kind of turns and looks at you all, and kind of giving some nods, looking at you all, and he says, "Huh? Are you related to Bergen?" He says to Grok.
Am I related? So I don't think so. No.
Yeah. So again, it's the if you want to be yes, if you don't want to be no.
No.
He says, "Yeah, Bergen. Oh well, shucks. He's the only one. He's the only turtle I know. Quite the fisherman. Very skillful indeed. But okay, if you're not from around here, that makes even more sense." Great. Looking to Shambles and then kind of skipping over him. Oh, and interesting. He says as he kind of turns.
Hello.
Looking back, he gestures to some seats, and Mom comes out with a pot, and there's like a small fire going in the middle of the room. She sets the pot out over top of it, and then settles down, sitting. Okay, well, introduce us to your friends. You're rude.
I'll go up there and introduce them each. Like, this is Grok. He's a druid for Oru. This is the Hand of Mudis, Benson. I'm sure most of you
I
know
say
him.
nice to meet you, and I see if I see any like recognition on his father's face at my voice.
He kind of looks at you like, oh. And you see them kind of whisper with each other for a second, and then you see him go, see? And she kind of goes, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so... And then, last but not least...
Shambles. He's kind of trapped in that robot body right now.
Trapped in that robot body. Okay, well, very interesting group of friends. Quite a late hour, too.
Damn it, we left the envoy behind. We'll get back to that. Sorry.
Actually, retcon, you were in the place where it was. It would have been with Chody, so you could have taken it. I'll allow it.
I don't have a place to put it, is what I mean.
Then it stays.
Weight-wise.
It stays in the Hall of Arcana.
That's fine. I'll come back there again.
If you find another teleportation circle and can cast teleportation circle twice, you could teleport in, grab it, teleport out.
I'll figure something out. It's
All right.
fine. As long as I know where it is, eventually I'll get to it.
Fair enough. So, what brings you around Banser this late? Thought you were off up to see Azil.
We did, actually.
Did you?
Yes, and I'll pull out my sword and show him.
Your father's kind of invested, kind of looks at it. Wow, boy. I didn't think you could. And she slaps him on the back and says, you didn't think our son could fucking do it. And he looks at her. It wasn't about him. He kind of wipes a tear from his eye. It was about me. It was about my problems. I didn't think he'd be able to make it because of what I had done. Kind of grins, looks to the sword. That's a majestic looking sword. Definitely radiates with A-list power. Can't believe you did it. Well, what did Hazil tell you to do? What's your quest now?
He didn't give me one.
Well, that's weird. Well, no wonder you came back home.
Came home to see you guys, actually. We actually are on a quest that Hazil didn't provide us, but is very important.
Queen quest.
Well, that's good. And your mom says, yeah, I'd hate to see you put that great sword to the pointless use of cutting trees. And then your dad says, well, what is it? What can we help you with? I mean, I don't remember much of the whispers that were given to me, but...
there's a guy named Calorith. He's pretty evil, and...
Yeah, we heard about him.
Yeah, we're pretty much trying to stop him.
Sure. So a lot of people are. It sounds like his lair's up on the Hamstring Hills, and just north of Cloudy Lake. A lot of folks were given the opportunity to leave to go fight. Some of our militia went, fortunately not all of them. And a large group of knights known as the Azmuten also went up north to help. They're based south of here at an old lighthouse. But they all came.
Sounds familiar.
They all came through and went to go help the Kyrios.
I think that's the only real information. Did Grok tell us what his name was before he got the status? The Calor's? What Calor's name was before?
Carrick.
Yes, Kalik here?
Kalik or Carrick?
Hold on.
I'm scrolling up.
Calic.
Carrick Wingard.
Good.
Because I remember it was close to Carrick.
Yeah, it's not ringing any bells, but everyone around these parts knows about the fallen Hierophant. Yeah, he's a real big troublemaker. But nothing's really come around here for Banser. All we've been dealing with is a group of troglodytes coming down from the Howling Hills, causing some problems on the North Road.
We passed something like that. At least the bodies end up
Do
against
they-
the wall.
Yeah. Do they do something with spears or
Yeah.
spear-like objects?
Folks have been going missing, and some folks have been attacked on the road. Um, your mother says, kind of interjects, from what I hear, they were leaving bodies out for some kind of evil purpose. That's what Billy said, anyways.
We should probably go get those bodies down from there.
Yeah.
It always works if he done. Say, would either of you ever have been to the town of Bellum, part of the South?
The city of Bellum? Well, yeah.
Sure. Sorry, it's been a while for me.
Yeah, sure have. From what I understand, they're supposed to be bringing up that iron road up this way.
You know any Vesters of the city of Bellum?
They kind of give you a look. No? We went
Totally
there,
fine.
We went there when Brooklyn was real young. Just went to go and see the city. And you're kind of thinking back, and it's like, if you've ever been to like a theme park, like Disneyland or Disney World or whatever, it's kind of like one of those weekends where you just remember like all the good parts, and your parents probably remember all the bullshit they had to deal with.
That's fair.
Andy.
Needed some candy.
You did look very tired for a second.
Yeah, I had this like, oh god. But he says, to you, it's a beautiful city. We didn't stay very long. We didn't really have many connections. We were just seeing the sights.
Fine. Would you know anything about the port that exists on the southwestern shores of the Cloudy Lake here?
Oh, yeah, the Osmuten come from there. It's their main fortification, from what I understand. They also have taken up residence in a lighthouse south of here. They're a group of...
Are these Osmuten?
They're a group of knights who swear by an order, a very ancient order. And they've been kindly and well-to-do for most of our time here. Definitely all of Brooklyn's life. Mom speaks up and says it's probably seeing one of them in action that spurred him to becoming a holy knight himself. And then your dad speaks up, but they're not holy knights. They don't serve a grand purpose like Brooklyn does. They haven't seen a servant of a god. And she says, shut up. It's not important. Move the conversation along, okay? And he kind of, all right. Well, anyways, yeah, they operate south of here and have done for some time. They deal with small threats that attack the loggers and fisher folk. They've been most helpful for most of our lives.
Might be good for us to meet with them someday.
Sure.
Thank you.
No problem.
You say they operate out of a lighthouse south of here?
Yeah, there's a lighthouse.
And also a port across the lake?
Yeah, there's a lighthouse south of here. It's known as, what is it called, honey? She kind of looks down for a second. Oh, Nalan Sul's Light. That's what it was. I forgot. It's some elvish thing.
Right, guys?
But that's the lighthouse they operate out of. It predates most of what I know about the region. They say it's from the Civil War. I don't know much about that.
Does that ring any bells for...
Would I know history-wise any of that?
You can make a history check. And are you keying in on, for that first roll, the lighthouse or the Osmuten?
I would say the lighthouse.
Nalan Sul isn't a person that you remember from history. Must be a religious thing. But the lighthouse is definitely been around. You know it's been there. It was probably established sometime in the Civil War by the conglomerate.
I pass the information on to everybody.
If you want to roll for Osmoten as well.
28.
The Osmoten Knights are a group of knights that follow a code of ethics and order. They served the country during the Civil War as unelected individuals who would stand for people who were unable to stand for themselves. They acted as ombudsmen or as defenders, protectorates, what have you, for the lowly people around Cloudy Lake. And more recently, from what you recall from the city of Bluegate, is that the Osmuten are one of a quadripartite grouping that are in league to bring to life again the dragon demon Ashma. According to what you were told in Bluegate, the Osmuten Knights, the Crimson Scarfs, the Cult of the Dragon, and the there's another one. I don't have my notes. That fourth one, oh, the Conglomerate Remnants, were the ones that are currently serving Caloreth.
Okay. So you had me going there. You had me thinking they were good guys.
It's for everything you've heard so far. It sounds
They've had a real nice front for a century or so.
It sounds like they're great folks. If they truly are in league with the servants of Caloreth or Caloreth himself, then yeah, that's obviously a front or something.
Bluegate's in trouble.
So we've heard. We've been told we weren't allowed to pass Kelswar. I'm surprised more people haven't come from there to take up hope here. We have a good idea of what we'll do if word gets in that Kelswar's fallen, or if anything out on the lakes is attacked by anything.
Where would you go?
Well, our current plan is to head south towards Blackheart and see if we can't get any work on the Iron Road. If it's really coming up this way, we'd be protected. And it's probably going to be laborious work. He says as he looks over to your mom, who kind of gives him a smirk, and then he looks back to you all. But anything worth doing is going to be hard. You know that, he says to Brooklyn.
How is everybody else in town?
Fine. Some of them went north when the call to arms was made, but not many. The town marshal was really upset when I wouldn't go with him, and when your mom wouldn't. We said we're not taking up arms. It's not what we do. Some people are made to be Justicars of Aelith. Some are not.
When he says that, Vincent would kind of raise an eyebrow, looking at his mom, kind of, really? But okay.
She kind of catches wise to your inference. She kind of looks at you. No, my fighting days are definitely in my past. Ever since I met Brooklyn's father, it's been a bit calmer.
Got the old ball and chain. Did you slow you down a little bit?
You see her kind of like stifle a laugh, and you see Brooklyn's dad kind of take offense. You know, I'm in the room.
But say, Benson, I think I left some of our supplies outside. Would you come with me for a moment to get those supplies I left outside?
Okay.
What about Grok?
Hang out. We don't want to be rude.
Okay.
I'll fill him in a second.
You take Benson outside.
So we're
I think his
understanding.
mom could carry a whole lot more stuff than I.
Yeah, probably. We probably should have sent her for the
Or
bags.
Grok.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean,
there's
I'm
no
not
bags,
gonna
damn it. Correct me if I'm wrong. These, what was it again? Azula Knights?
Asmutin.
Asmutin Knights? Those are forces of Caloris, correct?
Yep, bad guys.
Seems
Definitely
so.
bad guys.
They seem like they've kind of captured the hearts and minds of the people around here.
Yep, unfortunately, you noticed that too, huh?
We don't want to cause a ruckus here.
Hold on. Make a did you? I need to ask you this because there's something I think you're not picking up on, but I want
Probably.
I want to be sure you're picking up on it because I think you're right on the border of picking up on it and it being important. Regarding the Asmuten, what did she just say about them and where they're going?
To Bluegate as an additional force.
To help the good guys. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I said
But-
Bluegate's in trouble.
Are they Trojan horses? Yeah, I mean,
They're going to wipe it out. They're going to wipe out the
I just
Kyrios
wanna-
from behind.
I wanted to make sure that connection was.
That's why I brought him out here to say.
that's why
Great. I thought you were just trying to like double check on the Asmuten. Aren't
Well,
they
I wanted to make sure I'm crystal clear on
Okay.
where they're, like, who they are
Sorry for interjecting.
before. No, you're fine. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Perfect.
Do we need to
Go back.
make some kind of effort against those, or do we seize this opportunity where they are weakened in their home base?
I
Regardless, their movement needs to be capitalized upon.
I personally think that they're still too strong for us to really capitalize on them. But as for helping Bluegate, we also have to be careful because if someone here finds out I have a sending or something that goes against these folk heroes they become here, I mean, the town here could try to stop us even.
Involve civilians.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the scarecrow out of my bag of holding and drag it back into the house as if that was what I forgot outside. And like, whew, yeah, long night traveling. So you said those Asmutin, they were headed towards Bluegate as a sort of a rallying cavalry?
Yeah, they passed through Banser. What was it? 5 days ago? She nods. Yeah, 5 days ago. So, are you planning on staying here? She says.
Surprised we didn't pass them. If it's acceptable to you, I hate to intrude. I could happily sleep in the grass.
She says, "Honey, can you go get them some sleeping rolls and stuff, and just comfortable, cushions and whatnot?" He says, "Yeah, sure," and heads into the back of the house. She kind of stands up and kind of looks at you, crosses her arms. You don't have to whisper about in secret and whatnot. It seems that you have misgivings, and that's understandable, but just lay them bare. We're family. Is it something that you don't trust about them?
It is. I don't think that they're as well-intentioned as the people here might believe.
Most men aren't. She says.
I agree with you.
She looks over to Brooklyn. And you think that they might be ill-intending as well? Perhaps some treachery afoot up in Bluegate?
Possibly, from what we've heard.
Well, then what do you think would be wisest, son? Go and chase these possible betrayers? Or probable betrayers?
How big was the force that went through here?
I believe they had just around 100 men.
We might be able to take it on, but I don't like our odds.
We could each go 25 guys. Come on.
Yeah, that's why I said might. More pressing matter is, at least for me, is the people disappearing. I would like to investigate that first.
Well, to be honest, it's probably troglodytes. The Howling Hills haven't had much. We haven't had much protection from them, and they haven't come into the town. They've only attacked people who are out on the roads. So we've just not been traveling on the roads for the better part of a 6 day.
Sorry to interrupt out of character. So they came north through Banser 5-ish days ago?
They came south and then headed north out of Banser. They came from the south. So
That's what I meant. They came from the south, headed north towards Bluegate.
Correct.
They passed Banser 5 days ago.
About
we
like
didn't
that.
pass them.
No.
So they've either been to Bluegate and have already gone towards...
It didn't take you days to get to Banser.
No, right.
Yeah.
So by the time we got to Bluegate, they had already been there.
And through it, yeah.
So they've likely marched on the Kyrios forces on the road between Bluegate and Calorus Lair.
Sounds about right.
It might be too late for us to do anything about them. Those that are marching, anyhow.
Well, Brooklyn, she says, looking at you, you know my solution would always be to just go directly towards your problem and settle it. And she kind of slaps her fists into her hand, kind of making a loud clap. You see your father's face kind of peek out the outside, kind of holding a bunch of pillows, and he says, "Huh? Oh, stern lesson?" Kind of leans back and away. She kind of looks over her shoulder and then looks back at you, Brooklyn. But if you think something to be wiser, and move about it like your father might, caution can lead to greater results as well.
Couple people. Have Sally, Trent, and Dinkle, were they part of the militia that went up, or were they still in town?
Now, she kind of looks, I believe Dinkle's gone. Hold on, let me double check.
Dinkleberg!
So Sally is still present in town. That's weird. Hold on. So Sally's still in town. Trent went north. He would have been the marshal. He was acting vice captain when you last saw him, but they'll explain to you that Trent de Banser is now is the marshal, but he left. Dinkle is still present in Banser. He has been getting a lot of requests for personal armaments, from what your mom kind of explains in short here. But Master Dim's Best is still at it.
But yeah, I think we should probably at least sleep on it tonight and then decide our best course of action in the morning. You know, everybody has time to think of what they think is best.
I don't imagine they're going to last the night.
Do we know how big a force?
100 people went through.
100 knights came to support Calorith
That was 5 days ago. And
behind
we didn't
enemy
do
lines.
anything, So
The battle was actively going on earlier today as we traveled south.
We either need to jump on the forces and try to thin them out some to hopefully weaken them some, or we need to go back to Bluegate and just wait, rally the forces.
there's no forces to really rally in Bluegate, especially not to back the
Even if it's just a city militia, something to protect themselves.
There is no city militia.
You
in
missed
Bluegate.
out. I'm
It all-
sorry.
it all got
The
put
militia
together.
was drawn out
Yeah, it's
with
been,
the
no.
The
Kyrios
only people
itself.
there are the men of faith, and they, from the sounds of it, they want to fight against the Kyrios anyway. So
Sounds like they're using this as an opportunity to take control of the city on their own. So they're going to be another battle.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we either. I don't know that there weren't any boats at, what was it, Kelswar?
There were not any boats at Kelswar. There are boats here in Banser.
So I imagine our best options are very recklessly sail up the lake as quick as possible to try to extract the Kyrios and as many survivors, or move south and try to strike where the Asmaton are coming from to try to weaken their forces somewhat, gain something from this battle. From there, I'd leave it to you three. And Brooklyn's mom, she seems to have a good head about this kind of thing.
She kind of, as Brooklyn's dad comes in and starts spilling out, really nice looking, comfortable looking material to sleep in. Definitely outside of what you would expect this family to kind of have. They, lay out all the comfortable cushions and the like. She's still standing with our arms crossed and says, I'm going to go and I'm going to make some tea. If you'll continue speaking amongst yourselves. He says as he walks in, did they finally give up the trying to keep things out of Dad and Mom's ears? She says,
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, they wisened up. And he kind of smiles. Oh, great. I kind of overheard what you were talking about. The knights, you think they're bad and helping the dragon guy?
Awfully sure.
Huh, okay. Sits down.
I would want to keep an ear out for what Mom's going to talk about or what she's going to do in there.
Yeah,
without being too obvious about it, but I would definitely want to keep an ear out for if she's going into another room to do something.
Oh,
I would.
Yeah, you can see her from kind of where you're at. You can see that she's going into the back room and getting kind of like a kettle and tea and the like together, and some cups.
So it looks normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't trust Brooklyn's mom?
I don't trust anything that since we've opened up. I don't trust them right now at all.
Okay. She comes back in. You see her kind of get the teapot ready, pouring water into it, and then set the kettle over the fire in the middle after removing the food, which I'm assuming some people took,
Yeah.
part in. Yeah, the tea in question, you can smell it kind of brewing. It definitely smells like a kind of herbal blend. Yeah, it has a very kind of soothing kind of smell to it. Father, in the meantime, was kind of looking at you all and just waiting for you to kind of interject. Kind of interestedly kind of looking to Benson every so often. And then looking back to everyone else.
I would have honestly, I would have been kind of quieter after we kind of gave up that, hey, this is how we feel.
Yeah. So when she gets back in and sits down, she says, okay, well, if you're looking at taking a boat out, I can help you with that. I think Daryl Cloudrider has a boat. He wakes up pretty early, but if we get him either tonight or early morning, you should be able to stop him from going out and doing his fishing bit. His ship is pretty fast, a little trawler, but that's the best I can do for you. If you're intending on heading back the way you came, I guess. I don't know. Be wary of what's going on the roads up there near the Howling Hills. Whatever's happening with that. She kind of shrugs. In the meantime, if you need to sleep, I'm really tired. I've worked a full day, so I'm going to head to bed.
We appreciate your hospitality, man.
Dad says, I'm going to stay up with him for a bit, honey. She says, okay. Well, make sure you remember your way back to the bed. And he grins. You see him as he kind of like takes his cup of tea and settles it down in front of him. You see him pull out a small little tin flask and kind of pour something into it, and then put that back into his coat or his pajama pocket. Scratches his head. Shh. Hazil didn't have anything for you.
He didn't really speak. He more just, like, made a bird noise and then took my sword and dipped it into his fire.
It made it really pretty.
Yeah, it does speak sometimes. The sword does.
Is there something we're forgetting?
Grok would say, well, Haziel helped us in another way. She became a sentinel and protector of Oru. And so in so doing is helping in the fight against Calareth.
Oru. The horned black and white serpent?
The green.
Green. Things are much different here than they are in Vendar. Very strange. He shakes his head a little bit. So, great. I suppose Oru is a servant of Aelith then. Must be.
She is a foe of Ashmedea and all she stands for.
Ashmedea. Oh, the dragon. The dragon. This is a mess. None of the books say anything about this kind of stuff. Carlas didn't have to deal with, well, Solange, but he shakes his head.
Calareth is working to bring back Ashmedea.
Must be some mortal matter. I don't understand. It's strange. It's really strange. But I suppose that sword must be a key or something to your next step, boy. Must be.
If only it could talk to us.
Well,
I talk to it all the time.
Well, ask her, or ask the sword what's next.
The only thing the sword... Well, I'll ask, but I think I know the answer already. I'll talk to the sword.
You need some privacy?
yes.
The sword's kind of consciously there singing in the background.
I'm going to speak to it and then ask it what it thinks should be next since it's listening. I'm assuming it's listening to what we're saying.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of has a notion of what you're thinking. And you would hear Dias Haziel say, destroy him. You know where he is. They give you muted.
One call man to answer.
Get a phone call.
Yeah.
You catch that?
Do I think I don't know if I'm strong enough to destroy him. He has an army.
You kind of feel this like waning in the music, like a sorrow. He goes more of a dirge than anything else.
The sword just says destroy Calareth.
Yes, let's do it, says Grok. Now.
I mean, I guess that does bring up a third option instead of just kind of curios. I'm assuming most of the forces are in there fighting. I'm gonna assume Calareth's not with them, because why would he send his grunts and go with them to fight if he's confident they can win? He might not leave his lair as guarded if we wanted to try to maybe dock a boat close to it and go in that way.
Do we have any more chance defeating 150 knights than sneaking into the lair and doing some damage there?
Our stealth is not here anymore.
Well, when I sneak, I say that,
Guys, I'm right here.
No, I'm talking about Araya. Araya's not here.
You guys don't know where Benson is right now. You're looking around for him. He's gone.
He's probably just making some tea. He loves the tea.
But he's right there. Because the Wraith. I am super stealthy, man.
Does bring up the only other option I think of. If we really
I've never taken advice from a sword before,
This is the first for me too, Shambles.
but Calareth would be less concerned about our whereabouts in the midst of this battle. The element of surprise could be on our side.
The old man says. And if you're planning this direct assault, if you're right and he isn't, or I mean, if you're wrong and he isn't there, you could wait for him to return. You'd have the element of surprise.
And they could probably destroy some stuff in his lair that might slow down at the very least. If we can't defeat him, slow down his goal.
Benson, you want to trash the place?
I think we need to make sure we have a way out. If we do,
View?
we just need to be careful because
You escaped 3 dragons.
last time we fought him, it didn't go so well. We are stronger now, but last time we fought him, it didn't go well.
All right. Call your boat friend. Brett, go hug your parents. Sorry, Rooklyn, go hug your parents.
Yeah.
I read your name on the...
So we doing this? Grok is excited.
Sounds like.
All right.
If nothing else, it's recon.
If
We're going to learn more about his lair.
If Brooklyn and Dad go out into the night to go and meet with boat friend, as it were, you head on over to the Cloud Rider household. Knock, knock, knock on the door. It's pretty late at night, probably close to like 11 at this point. You hear a what? What the fuck? Then you see an old, kind of surly-looking fisherman kind of come out. Ha, Brooklyn. Hey, Sally's been asking about you. You see your dad just smack him in the face. No time for that. Wake up. Focus. Can we borrow your boat tomorrow? He looks over to Brooklyn. Do any of your friends know how to boat? And then
I do not.
Mr. Cloudrider says, I wouldn't care if they did. I'm crewing my own boat. But if they need to go somewhere in specific, sure. Where are they heading? Well, they'll talk to you more about that in the morning. But this is my favor I'm pulling in. You owe me. And he says, yeah, I'm glad to be done with it now. Great. They shouldn't need more than a couple of days?
Yeah,
worth of boating? Right. So you owe me a 6-day. So it will probably be less than that. But once their objectives are complete, our business and transaction and favor giving is completed. Good? Cloud Rider kind of goes, yeah, great. Wonderful. Perfect. Thanks. Yeah, I'll see you in the morning, Brooklyn. What time? We normally get out around 5.
Yeah, I'd probably make that work.
Okay, great. Then, yeah, let me get back to sleep then. Should Sally be there? Yeah.
All the help.
Okay. And kind of grinning, he kind of walks back inside and closes the door. Your dad kind of shakes his head. He looks to you. Sally's a good girl. But I don't think you quite gather what's going on there, young lad. Just, maybe just be wary, he says, as he kind of leads you back to the house. As you're walking back, kind of in the darkness, on the road, kind of coming into town, you see a lone individual, kind of wearing a dark cloak. The lights don't seem to catch the person as they're kind of approaching, but they seem to be entering into the town at about the time you're heading back to your house. And real quick note, that's about where I am going to end it. I know it's not all the way to 8 o'clock. You didn't get your full 3 hours worth, but I will note that the secretive guy in a cloak, or girl in a cloak, is a lead-in. We'll get to that in a bit once we kill the stream. We will pick up next week with a normal 2-hour session, and we will be continuing through the rest of February. Sadly, without Araya. But yeah, we will continue on despite the lack of one Wilbur. We kind of got the better Wilbur. It's okay. Ha 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 ha. It's on video. You can watch it and be sad that I said that. Alright, bye. Thanks for watching.